Live from the 504. It's Mr. Crazy Flow. Jumping like a bungee, no rope. If it am, here we go. Nowhere. I'm nailed to the floor. Money's to sell to my boat. It's going down, it's going down. Hey, hello. It's going down like there's a well in the boat. Hello. Hey, Jenny. Jenny, how are you? How are you? I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to get back to you. It's been a crazy day. I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're safe. I hope you're doing okay. Hello. Hey, soy sauce. Let's go ahead and get some people in here. How do I do this with this? Guys, if you don't mind, tap the screen. Let me fix this. I didn't fix that. Let's fix the gift goal. Should be 100. Let's do 100 of the pink heart puffs. I want to do the pink heart. Guys, no lie. My favorite gifts on TikTok always have hearts. They always have hearts. I'm glad that you're early. That means you get to hear the intro song. That means you get to hear the intro song. That's freaking awesome. Guys, send your daily heart me, please. It's only 1 coin. It will help boost the live and push us out to the FYP. Also, knock out the daily gift goal. It's the little pink heart puffs, if you don't mind. And yeah, got to send this over to a couple of people just to make sure that we get this thing rocking and rolling. And, you know, we do all the wonderful things. Got to make sure that we do all the wonderful things. It's going to be a heck of a week here on Late Nights, and I'm so excited about it. Like, I'm sincerely, absolutely excited about it. Absolutely excited about it. With that being said, oh, it looks like the Brett raid is coming in. All right. Good. I'm happy to hear that, Jenny. Welcome in, Brett Raid. Welcome in, Brett Raid. It seems like people are starting to get in here, so I think that means, guys. Oh, let me make sure we're all set on the tubes. I don't want to miss out on the tubes and the twitchers. That should not say that. I'm gonna fix that title. 1 second here. We're going to get it started here, guys. Tap the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 8,000 likes, if you don't mind. Please. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 8,000 likes. Send your daily heart me. Again, it's only 1 coin, and it will help boost the live and help push us out to the FYP. And last but not least, I'm going to keep resetting the daily gift goal to these little 1-cent goals. If we can knock that out, that'll help as well. All right. We're good. Let me go ahead and hit that save. All right. Let's crank it up.
Yeah, this ain't your regular panel. Nah, we speak the truth. Late nights with Santana and Mama Jones watching. Better keep it clean. Let's go. Late nights, truth in the convo. Everybody get a seat at the table. From the block to the books, we mindful. No screaming, just dreams in the Bible. One mic, one voice, we build bridges from the heart of the hood to the world's big issues. Politics, pay, different cultures. But the real ones listen before they rebuttal. Late nights with Santana. Hey. Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this is the purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight.
We gotta connect the dots.
Yeah.
Late nights with Santana.
You already know. Late nights with Santana. Late nights, no static. No highlight reel, truth is the soul's reflection. No shade throwing, just connection. From streetwise truths to deep reflections, we turn hard talks into blessings.
Yes.
They say they run a game, we build new rules. We here to heal, uplift, and break the old rules.
Yes.
They kept us boxed in, divided by fear.
What?
You find us lined up when the truth appeared.
Hey.
Yeah. Weekly topics,
Hearts wide open.
no judgment,
Just motion.
real ones are talking, no cussing. Cause Mama Jones still watching, no fronting. Yeah,
Late nights with Santana.
you already know.
Late nights with Santana.
Late nights, no static. Yeah, Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight,
We here to connect the dots.
Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight,
We here to connect the dots.
Weekly topics,
Hearts wide open.
no judgment, just motion. Real ones are talking, no cussing. Cause Mama Jones still watching, no fronting. Yeah,
Late nights with Santana.
you already know.
Late nights with Santana. Late nights with Santana.
You already know.
Late nights with Santana.
Late nights,
Hey.
late nights with Santana.
Hey.
You already
Hey.
late nights with Santana.
Hey. Guys, welcome in, guys. I am so freaking excited and so happy to be back, guys. This is Late Nights with Santana, and I missed you. I missed each and every one of you. Yes, I know we've been sparring. Yes, we've been getting active. Yes, we've been debating, but this is home. This is home. This is my first love. This is where we started. We started with late nights, and I'm so happy. I know we've been off and we've been, trying to get things set and, whatever. But late nights, this is us. This is community. This is what we're about. So with that being said, this week, we're going to talk about something that is super important. Something that I think is not only super important, but something that, hell, I feel like everyone can somehow agree on, right? And that's two-way reform. And I think it's time to talk about it. I think we have multiple things that we can actually dig into when it comes to two-way reform. I think that it's always been a thing where it's been politicized. And I think more than anything, it's something that's needed because you can say that you want to protect this person or that person, or people should be able to go to nightclubs or movie theaters or, churches or whatever. But I know for me, and I know for the person I'm getting ready to introduce, it's personal in the sense that we got to protect the kids. We got to protect the kids, right? I mean, like, if we don't do that, then what are we doing? So for me, being unable to actually allow kids to go to school and know that they're going to make it home with no issues, that's a big deal. That's absolutely a big deal. But also just being able to live life every day in America without the fear of losing your life for some random reason. So with that being said, if you're interested in joining the conversation, get in the box. Get in the box. This is a conversation for each and every person. If you are pro 2A, get in the box. We want to talk to you. If you are someone that thinks 2A reform needs to happen, get in the box. We want to talk to you. We want to talk to each and every person because this is late nights. And now something that I want everyone to keep in mind, late nights, we're not here to debate. This is not a debate. This is a conversation. This is a community conversation. And this is something that needs to happen with everyone. So if you are here for a respectful conversation, because we don't overtalk, we don't yell, we might have some fun. But if you are someone that wants to join in a respectful conversation, then request up. Everyone is welcome. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone, anyone and everyone, including my brother, Brett Cross. What's going on, Brett?
What's up, brother? How are you this evening?
I cannot hear you, but I see you talking.
Can you hear me now?
Can anyone else
Chat,
hear
can
Brett?
y'all hear me?
Okay, so I can hear you on the YouTubes. Oh, wait, hold on. Use error. Try it again, Brett.
Yo, can you hear me now?
Yep, I didn't have you turned up on my soundboard. My bad, guys. That was me.
I think, yeah, I can hear myself back now.
I didn't have you turned up on my soundboard. It was me. I'm sorry. My bad.
No, I can hear me too.
You sound like a dork.
Like delayed. We got an echo here, bud.
That's you. You got to fix it. I don't hear the echo. Wait, chat. Do you
Everybody
feel the
else
echo?
does.
Chat, you hear the echo? Oh, okay. Wait. Hold on. Oh, I know what it is. Hold on. Hmm. All right, talk for me, Brett.
What's up? Nope, still there.
Okay, I know what it is. Hold on. All right, do it again.
Okay. Nope, still there.
You still hear the echo?
Yes, sir. Let's see. Nope, still can hear it.
What the fuck out of bread?
Now it just sounds like I got like reverb. Can you put some auto tune on it?
Maybe. All right, try it again.
Let's see. Nope, still there.
What in the world? Hold on. Guys, Brett broke it.
I didn't do nothing.
Okay, wait. So, chat, do you guys hear an echo when I speak? Or is it just an echo when Brett speaks? Just Brett. Okay. So I feel like it's a Brett Cross issue.
It's not a Brett problem.
Let me check one other thing.
Wait, bring another guest up.
Hold on. Okay. So I see what's happening. Like whenever you speak for something, you know what? Let me try this. All right. Say something again.
Something again.
Is it still there?
It's still there. Hold on. I'll switch to my headphones. That way we can roll out if it's me.
I want to say it's Brett. I'm hoping it's Brett. Holy smokes, that was an echo.
It's not me. Nope, I can still hear it.
You can still hear it?
Yeah, it's you.
Absolutely you.
Don't blame this on white Jesus.
Hold on. Okay, what about now? I don't know what's happening with your sound, but it's worse.
Is it better now?
It's like
Now? Oh.
it was like a didgeridoo. Do you still hear the echo?
Yes, we still hear the echo. Does that weird sound go off now?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, that was my heating pad.
Mm.
But it didn't cause the echo.
Hold on.
I think it's Oslo's fault.
I think it might be Oslo's fault. What the world? I have all the settings corrected here. This is here. It's microphone, then speaker, speaker.
They're saying it's fixed. Oh, I can still hear it.
Do me a favor, Brett. Go ahead and start talking.
All right, I'm talking right now. I can still hear it. Yeah. Let me drop and then come back. Maybe we could probably see if that works. I don't know. Do you want me to say the Pledge of Allegiance? I'm trying to think of shit to just say randomly. And you just have me still talking and talking and talking.
Yeah, I just listened to it on like YouTube, and yeah, no, it's good now. So now it's only you hearing it.
Wait. Huh.
All right.
I can still hear it a few minutes after, but
try dropping and come right back. Guys, I promise you this is a professional setup. I promise you it is. Normally it's not like this. This is Brett Cross' fault. I'm not gonna take this one on the chin. I'm not on my first day back. I refuse. I'm definitely putting this on Brett. W's in the chat for Lindsay. Lindsay sent a $5 donation towards the nightly donation goal and said, "Miss late nights, friend. Listen, I'm telling you, I am so happy to be back. Again, late nights, it's my love. It's where everything started, and it genuinely makes me happy. So, guys, that means there's only $235 left in the nightly donation goal. If anyone would like to support the live, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks For You. Santana Speaks For You is the best way to support the live, and goes towards the nightly donation goal. Everything is accepted. Anything's appreciated. If you're over on the tube, first and foremost, make sure you hit the like button, but you can support with this super chat if you would like, and I will read that out. Brett, all right, you're back. Do you still hear the echo?
I haven't spoke yet. Yeah, I still can.
Keep talking for me.
All right. Oh, say, can you see if it's still going to be echoing or not? It's barely noticeable.
All right. I don't hear it at all when I play it on the tubes. Mods, can I get a mod up here, please? Can I get a mod up here? One mod, any mod. Any mod. Hey, Frey. Hey, Corey.
Hello.
Do you two hear echoes?
Yeah.
You hear echo?
I couldn't hear it, but now I hear my own echo and it's bothering me.
You hear echo while you're speaking?
Yes.
Damn it, Brett.
Don't blame it on me. I'm not the one that went into the future.
All right, what about now?
Let me see. It's better, but it's there.
Frey, Corey, can you guys still hear it?
Yeah, but not like. Oh, it's not like tunnely like it was.
And then you hear everything coming back at you. Even when Brett was talking, I could hear him echoing real bad.
It's Santana's fault.
It's this new studio layout. Like they changed things. All right, what about now?
Yep, still there.
All right, I'm going to try one other thing. Oh, hold on. Hold on.
Does Santana have his external speakers play? I think it's gone now. It's gone.
I can't hear it for Brett anymore. Do I still have an echo?
Nope, I don't hear no echo.
What did you do?
Okay.
We don't hear any echo, and we heard you for like a split second, and now we can't hear you again.
Can you hear me now? What about now? Can you hear me talking?
Okay.
Yeah, but your volume's kind of loud.
My volume's loud?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Like,
because I'm
kind of
loud.
like, no, it's kind of like blown out, like distorted.
You sound like you're super close to the mic, and then Brett sounds like he's really far from the mic.
Agree.
Am I better?
Yes.
All right, so it is Santana's fault. Got it.
Usually.
First and foremost, like, hold on. Okay, 1 1 test, 1 1 test.
That sounds a little bit better.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. You want beef with the king? What is you gonna do when we pull up on the scene? With okay, I think we're good. Can you guys hear echo?
No echo. I think you're good.
Said just I'm really loud.
You had your external speakers playing, didn't you?
I did not. I did not.
Yes, you did. That's what it was.
No, I didn't. Seriously. Is this better, guys? I turned down the volume just a little bit. Is that better?
That's a lot better, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, I swear I've gone live before. I swear this is not my first time doing this. I pinky promise. I absolutely pinky promise this is not my first time doing this.
Amateur.
It'd be better to pretend like it was.
No. That's fucking Brett's fault. All right. Perfect. Thank you, Corey. I'm gonna drop you down, Corey. Perfect. All right, guys. All right. Welcome in again. This is like, you know what? Quick.
It back.
I was just about to say quick poll. Quick in a poll. Should we play the intro song one more time and just act like we're just now starting? Put a yes or no. Yes or no. Should we just play the intro again and act like we're just starting? You promise you guys? Okay. All right. Fuck it. Let's do it, Brett.
Let's do it.
Yeah, this ain't your regular panel. Nah, we speak the truth. Late nights with Santana and Mama Jones watching. Better keep it clean. Let's go. Late nights, truth in the convo. Everybody get a seat at the table. From the block to the books, we mindful. No screaming, just dreams in the Bible. One mic, one voice, we build bridges from the heart of the hood to the world's big issues. Politics, pay, different cultures. But the real ones listen before they rebuttal. Late nights with Santana.
Hey.
Mama Jones watching,
So keep it
grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Yeah.
Late nights with Santana.
You already know.
Late nights with Santana.
Late nights, no static. No highlight reel, just the soul's reflection. No shade throwing, just connection. From streetwise truths to deep reflections, we turn hard talks into blessings. They say they run a game, we build new rules. We here to heal, uplift, and break the old rules. They kept us boxed in, divided by fear. But you found us lined up when the truth appears. Yeah, weekly topics, hearts wide open. No judgment, just motion. Real ones are talking, no cussing. Cause Mama Jones still watching, no fronting. Yeah, late nights with Santana. You already know. Late nights with Santana. Late nights, no static. Yeah, Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this a purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot. But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Weekly topics, hearts wide open. No judgment, just motion. Real ones are talking, no cussing. Cause Mama Jones still watching, no fronting. Yeah, late nights with Santana.
You already know.
Late nights with Santana.
Late nights with Santana.
You already know.
Late nights with Santana.
Late nights.
Late nights with Santana.
You already know. Late nights with Santana. Late nights.
Hey guys, welcome in. This is Late Nights with Santana, and this week, like I said, Late Nights is back. I am happy to be back. Welcome in to everyone, including the Erica Raid. Welcome in, guys. This week on Late Nights with Santana, we're talking two-way reform. We're talking gun reform. We're talking what needs to happen to make sure that we're protecting everyone in America, especially the kids. With that being said, my co-host for this week is the one, the only, Brett Cross. Brett, the crowd goes mild. Brett, how are you?
I am doing, Santana. And listen, I appreciate the opportunity to get to co-host this with you for the week, man.
Listen, I'm so excited. Brett, I know, so you and I talk, right? I mean, like, first and foremost, like, you and I, not last week, but the week before, we were on like a hell of a run, right? Like, it was like almost every single day we were on live together, and it was just like fucking magic, right?
Oh yeah.
And Brett, I know where your heart is. I know where your passion is, and you know that's one of the many reasons why I love you. But then, you know, everything happened, and I feel like, you know, fuck it. This is the only time that I'm going to say his name because he's not important. But Charlie Kirk was, you know, not assaulted, but his life was taken due to gun violence. But then, at the same day, there was a school in Colorado with shooting, and I mean that's preceded by a church, a school. The kids that were, I think it was like a church, but an actual like a Catholic church. I might be a little bit confused on how that was, but
yeah, it was a Catholic school where they had a church like attached,
right?
So like they were doing their mass.
Right. Got it. Where a bunch of kids lost their lives as well. And, you know, for me, in times like this, people want to go into, you know, thoughts and prayers, right? And like they always say, oh, we don't need to politicize this. But I'm thinking to myself, like, if not now, then when? Like, I'm so tired of thoughts and prayers. I'm so tired of hearing that you can't politicize this. I'm so tired of hearing that, well, there's nothing that we can do. And Brett, that's why I said we have to have this conversation this week. I think it's so important to dig into what we can do because there is stuff that we can do, and we need reform. And I think it starts here.
Absolutely. And I do want to just like slightly push back. I do agree. This shouldn't be a political thing. The reason that I'm into politics the way that I am is because it's not us that actually make this political. We all agree that this is a nightmare, that something has to be done. instead, I see it's the politicians that actually make this political, because on one side you'll have let's not talk about it, thoughts and prayers and everything, and or wearing AR pins after 19 kids and 2 teachers are unalived at a school, right? So I don't think it should be a political issue at all. It shouldn't. We should just do what's best for our children. Unfortunately, it's the politicians that truly make this a political issue.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree, and I think that it's something that a lot of people have passion about, but for some reason, it's something that a lot of people don't necessarily action on. So with that being said, Brett, how about we start getting some people in here and we get this going, because like I feel like there's a lot of meat on the bone. There's a ton of people that want to get involved, and I feel like we just need to crank up this conversation. What do you think?
Absolutely, brother.
All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and start letting people in. But as I let people in, please, please, please remember, mute yourself. We will go through a quick introduction. Please mute yourself. We will go through a quick introduction. And then once we get through the introductions, we will get to the conversations. I promise you, I'll try to get as many people in, and we will try to rotate as many people as possible. And we'll try to keep this conversation going. So again, if you are interested in joining the conversation, you do not have to be someone that is a quote unquote op. This is not an op situation. This is an everyone situation. So if you're someone that actually believes that we need reform, get in the box. I want to talk to you. If you're someone that thinks like, hey, this is silly, we don't need reform, we have to actually protect our constitutional rights, get in the box. We want to talk to you. When I say everyone is welcome, I absolutely, absolutely mean that. Every single person is welcome to this conversation, and I want you here. It looks like we have a couple of people spinning and loading. I don't know if I don't know. Brett, do you see everyone on the panel yet?
I see 4 people in.
Okay, because they're kind of spinning on my side.
Like 3.5.
Okay, all right, perfect. So this is what we're gonna do. We'll roll with who we have at the moment. Let me see how, because it keeps spinning, and I might have to drop some people. So if you were in the box and you dropped out while we were going through the technical difficulties, get back up here. You get back here. And we will go ahead and get into the conversation. So let's start with a quick introduction. Just Alpha. How are you, friend?
Can you hear me?
Yes. How are you?
Fantastic. I am doing good this evening, although I just got back from Parker's stream. Hello, for any Parker supporters. The last few guests were, oh boy, they were rough. But other than that, I had a good day today. How about you, Santana? How is everybody else doing?
Wonderful. Just Alpha. So question for you. 1, where do you stand on the side of the debate, whether we need reform of 2A or we do not need reform of 2A? And are you someone that is an active card-toting 2A member? Meaning, do you actively own do you actively own a firearm?
I mean, unless you're counting paintball rifles, then no. But as far as what I said on the defense of the Second Amendment, I do believe it is our founding fathers incorporated the Second Amendment with regards to the fact that they literally just won a revolutionary war and they overthrew a tyrannical government. But at the same time, it's not as if I'm going to say that the Second Amendment was founded literally 250 plus years ago. And they could never have imagined a country where there's literally more firearms / pew-pews than people. So with regards to the Second Amendment, I want to keep it, but I desire reform.
Absolutely. Perfect. All right. Give me 1 second here. All right.
Myself.
Perfect. All right. Kosher, how are you?
Hey, Santana, Lashana Tova. How are you?
Wonderful. Kosher, I want to get you in here. So first and foremost, where do you fall on the side of the conversation? Yes, we need 2A reform. No, we don't need 2A reform. And are you someone that is a card-toting 2A member?
So I am of the opinion that, yes, I do believe that reforms are necessary. I think there is too much politicalization with regard to how 2A was written. A lot of those pro will say that it is, may not infringe, but they completely ignore the part about the quote unquote well-regulated militia part.
Mm.
So, in my opinion, I would think that we should treat firearms similar to the way we treat the privilege to drive a car, require insurance,
Okay.
require
Wait. Hold on.
you to
Don't
pass a
give away.
course.
Don't give it away too much. Because that's part of
Okay.
all the conversation. So perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. All right.
Sorry.
Thank you. No worries. No worries. Give me a second here. Thank you. Bill, how are you? Bill, are you there? Bill going once. Bill going twice.
Hello?
Yes, Bill 1952.
Okay, no, this is Santana. This is my husband's account. He was a big fan of yours. He passed away 13 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
We are both big believers in the Second Amendment.
Okay, perfect. What's your name, friend?
Marie.
Okay. So, Marie, just to be clear, one, where do you stand on the side of the conversation? Do you think that we do need 2A reform or we do not need 2A reform? And are you currently a card-toting member of 2A?
Yes, we do need reform, but we also own guns.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Give me a second here. All right. Amber. Hey, Amber. How are you?
Hi, Brett. Hi, Santana.
Hello.
What's up, Amber?
I'm so excited to have you in this conversation as well. Like, this is fucking awesome. Amber, all right. First and foremost, can you tell the people what side of the aisle do you fall on? Are you someone that believes that we need 2A reform or we do not need 2A reform? And are you currently a card-toting member of 2A?
I do believe that we need reform. I've been fighting for it for 30 years. So, yes, I am an owner.
Perfect. I'm sorry, go ahead.
But I
Amber.
wouldn't, I'd be fine getting rid of it too. I don't care.
Ooh, okay. That's interesting. All right, perfect. Give me a second here. All right. I can't see because they have the things are popping up. Hold on.
It's Chewy. Chewy's next.
Chewy, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you, Santana?
Wonderful. Chewy, where do you fall on the side of the conversation? Are you someone that thinks that we need 2A reform, or are you someone that thinks that we do not need 2A reform? And are you a card-toting member of 2A?
I definitely do support some forms of 2A reform. I am very much a toter of the 2A. I have my concealed carry, and to Brett's dismay, I'm also an NRA lifetime member.
Okay. Good stuff. Perfect. Give me a moment here. And last but not least, is it pronounced Dylan?
Yes, Dylan.
I thought Dylan. Dylan, how are you?
Dylan. I'm great. How are you, Santana?
Wonderful. Dylan, where do you fall on the conversation? Are you someone that thinks that we need 2A reform, or are you someone that believes that we are good and we should not be touching 2A? And I'm sorry, also, are you a card-toting member of 2A?
I'm not a card-toting member. Potentially future with inheritance and stuff like that, but my wife will not let me carry. So there's that. And as for that, for your first question, yeah, common sense pew reform, I think, is absolutely necessary to not only just protect like children, but I guess everybody in America, for that matter.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Perfect. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get this going. We're going to get into this conversation. Just a couple of quick things before we get too far ahead. If you're in the box, hold tight. I promise you I'm going to try to cycle people in, out as quickly as possible. And I want to get everyone involved in the conversation. But tonight is not the only night that we will have this conversation. We're going to be here tonight. We're going to be here tomorrow night. We're going to be here Wednesday night. This conversation is the conversation for late nights. So if you don't get the opportunity to join tonight, hang tight. We'll get you in. With that being said, guys, this is for the people on the panel. Please be mindful of TikTok-friendly language. Please make sure that you use words like, and you know what? Fuck it. We're not going to say pew pew because Brett's here and we're talking about firearms. So just don't say GUN. It's like say, firearms or weapons, something along those lines. But make sure we stay away from the GUNs. But other words that you want to use is TikTok friendly language like pew pew, not pew pew, mustache man, AB, things like that, unalive. Try to be mindful of that type of language. Also, just a reminder, guys, this is a safe and friendly community. What does that mean? That means that we don't do any of the phobias, homophobia, transphobia. We also don't do any of the isms, racism, sexism, classism. We don't do any of that here. We don't participate with that on the panel or in the chat. And speaking of the chat, please, please, please be mindful. Caps are for mods. When you guys use caps, it pulls my attention away from the panel and to the chat, and we definitely want to be able to have that conversation. So please do not use caps. Last but not least, guys, we do have a nightly donation goal of $250, which Lindsay has already kicked us off with $15. So we only have $235 left in our nightly donation goal. Hey, we got 469 people here. Right. If you would like to support the live, you can do so. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links and link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks for You is the best way to support the live. Anything is accepted. Everything is appreciated. If you're over on YouTube and you want to send a super chat, you can do so to help support the live as well. All right. I said a mouthful. Let's get into it. Brett.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to start with you. And I know that you can do this off the top of your head, which I have no doubt in any of your skills, right? But I'm going to bring this up for everyone else to see, and I'm going to let you do your thing, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the people what the Second Amendment is?
Yeah, so the Second Amendment is a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed. And so what that means in regards to the whole Constitution as well, is that the Second Amendment was just about us having our militia, right? And the militia shouldn't be infringed. Anywhere else in the Constitution that we use the term, when we're talking about abusing somebody's individual rights, we use the terms deny or abridge. It's never infringe. Infringe was used to talk about the state. The state had the right to organize their militias, right? And that's what the whole Second Amendment came about for. We even see it when we look elsewhere in the Constitution, especially in the Articles, right? Article 1, Section 8, Clause 15 and 16 specifically state that Congress will have the power to call forth the militia to aid the Union to suppress insurrections and repel invasions, which then goes against the whole it's to fight a tyrannical government, because if you're to fight against your government, whether they're tyrannical or not, that is an insurrection. And that same militia that you're saying the 2A is about would be used to essentially put you down. It also says in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 16, that Congress will have the power to arm, train, organize, and discipline the militia. So your militia wasn't just your band of buddies down the street that are cosplaying and trying to fight things. So in a nutshell, that's literally what the Second Amendment is.
Absolutely, absolutely, Brett. You did more than did that justice. You broke it down. So, guys, with that being said, we're going to get into the actual premise around the Second Amendment, right? And a couple of things that we're going to talk about is 2A, now and then. Basically, Brett just broke it down what the original writing was and how it was interpreted. But I want to take a look at not only how was it interpreted and written for the time that it was, but how should it actually be applied today? And then I want to talk about what's the hang up, meaning why are people so, I guess, hesitant to make adjustments to the Second Amendment, especially when it seems like we have a crisis here in our country and we have to address it. We also going to talk about reform and benefits. Like, what does that look like, right? How would that be beneficial? How do we make sure that we get some type of real reform while not, overhauling either the Second Amendment or people's constitutional rights? And, we're not scaring people off by saying, we're going to take your guns or whatever the case may be. And last but not least, we're going to get into let's get it done. That means, how do we actually make this happen? I know that we have people on the panel who are advocates for reform, and there's definitely things that they're doing. But with that being said, we want to actually get into how we can execute and what those actual next steps are. All right. That being said, we're going to start to pass it around the panel. And I want to start with what's the hang up? So, Brett, really quick to you because you are my co-host for the week, but then I'm going to pass it around to everyone else on the panel. Brett, what's the hang up? Why are people so hesitant to engage in reform?
So, there's two reasons, right? Mainly, it would be the funding, right? We talk about this in regards to other things politically, but it's the money that is going into politics, right? When you have the NRA that is funding these politicians, and when you look up like which politicians are being funded the most by the NRA, they are typically the individuals that are voting against firearm reform. And secondly, we wouldn't even have to worry about that though if we voted for people who actually wanted to reform these, and that goes on to the voter base at that point, because it is. I mean, this goes back over 100 years, but it's the society in which we live in, where we're America's the good guys, right? So the good guys have to have firearms, right? That gives them power, and that gives them to where they think like they're going to be the good guys. And in all reality, that's just non-factual, right? And we'll go into the data later on that. But so when you have generations of people saying, "Oh, you need these," and all it's doing is causing death and destruction, and you have the NRA funding politicians, and politicians saying, "Oh no, this is your right. You need it to defend yourself against the bad guys." But the bad guys is always everybody else except for us. In this country, and this country has the highest amount of school unalivings. Period.
Yep.
So it's a multitude of things.
Yep. Could not agree more. Perfect. Give me a second here, Brett. Just Alpha, coming to you. What do you think? What's the hang up? Why are people so hesitant to engage in two-way reform?
Sorry, Santana. Could you actually go to someone else real quick? I need to do something, but I'll be back.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. Kosher, floor is yours. What do you think? Why are people so hesitant to engage in two-way reform?
I think it has a lot to do with the culture overall. I mean, this is an amendment that comes right after the First Amendment, which covers things like freedom of religion. And to some people, their firearm culture is essentially, what they believe in. It's, almost as if Jesus himself handed me this firearm and said, I bestow this upon you. And, and to them, trying to even have a discussion about reform is a non-starter, because they think, oh, if you give a mouse a piece of, a piece of cake, he's going to want a glass of milk or something like that. They think if you give an inch, they'll take a mile, type of thing.
Yeah.
And it's hard to break from that, considering how long this has been around. So for me, it's the culture mentality, and that, they say the left is just going to try and change my way of life. This is drastic, and it's as sad as it is. When you have individuals like Mr. Kirk saying that, well, this is a necessary cost of having this culture, that just again sows more division within the ranks. So going back to my previous point, if you approach it in a way that, like I was saying, with automobiles, where you require, where it's a privilege rather than a right, which most developed nations have, it changes the mentality a little bit. Once you start to build that new culture a little bit, people have to show and demonstrate that they understand the dangers, the risks, and they also have to be involved with regard to the consequences. Not that we don't have a justice system, but we all know that that's pretty flawed also.
Yeah.
So I guess overall, just going back, it's for me, it's the culture.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I definitely think there's something to be said about that, in which America is one of weapon culture. which is very different than other places around the world. So yeah, absolutely. Um, Bill 1952. I forgot what you said your name was. I apologize.
Marie.
Marie. All right, Marie. What about you,
I,
Marie?
I I agree with both of what both of the other people say, but people get it so ingrained. It's like they're raised up. My children are raised up around guns, so they're safe around them. They know how to handle them. They respect them. That's another important issue. But there's people that just think, oh, the government's going to come and take everything away from me. I'm not going to be able to feed my family if there's a war or this or that. And I think a lot of people really get hung up on that.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? I know being from the South, that's always been a conversation, right? That there's going to be some type of need that the government is going to come and we're going to have to fight off the government, so it's needed. So we'll get into that in a moment. Perfect. Thank you, Marie. Amber, what about you? What do you think the hangups are?
I think it's multifaceted, obviously, but I would say supremacy culture, social conditioning, and misinformation.
Mm. Can you expand on the misinformation for me for a half a second?
Yeah, just how often we hear people who are convinced that certain specific cities are more violent than the places that they live.
Mm.
Like people from like maybe rural red areas who are fully convinced that the firearm violence is higher in New York City or Chicago or DC or whatever large city they cite. And then you look up where they live and it's higher where they live. And they
Yep.
don't believe it, but
Yep.
it's true. And
Yep.
that happens most of the time.
Yep.
So the amount of misinformation that's been pumped into not only just social media or the internet in general, but fake experts who have published misinformation with bad studies and bad data and cherry picked data, who have become famous because they were funded by the NRA, and people then believe the things that those people say, like John Lott, for example, did a lot of damage with pushing that misinformation out. And then, just trying to define or trying to categorize what is self-defense usage versus when somebody actually does defend themselves. Is like you've seen studies where they cite a certain number of self-defense usages per year, and then if you really dig into some of those instances, it's because somebody heard a raccoon outside and went outside with a firearm, and they count that as a self-defense usage in those studies. So there's a
That's
lot
interesting.
you have to dig into to find out how bad the misinformation is. But the supremacy culture thing, I think, is not only like the overarching theme of all the the white supremacy that kind of runs through every institution in our country, but I would say American supremacy, this idea that we're bigger and badder than every other country. And so we have to be prepared for some foreign invasion, and that somehow the armed populace is going to be able to defend against some other military or even our own, and people believing that they can actually do that.
Yep. I think that's
the other thing is, sorry, go ahead.
No. I go ahead and finish your point, and then I'll hop in.
I think another problem, I mean, just from personal experience with my situation, people not understand exactly how firearm violence happens, how fast it happens, how unprepared you are, even if you think you're prepared.
Yes.
How difficult it would be to try to stop somebody who's determined to hurt you. They just don't understand what that actually looks like.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about that, and I know Brett kind of hinted at it, and yeah, we're going to get to it because for some reason people always think, well, a good guy with the a weapon is going to stop a bad guy with a weapon, and it just doesn't work that way. But okay, perfect. Give me a second here. Chewy, what about you? What do you think the holdups are with people being willing to engage in reform of the Second Amendment?
My big three would be ignorance, misinformation, and poor policy approach.
Okay. Can you expand on the poor policy approach for half a second?
Yeah. So whenever we do oftentimes bring something like a common sense reform proposal forward, you see a lot of far leaning people attempt to amend it to expand beyond the original approach, and that hits it dead in the water because they like then all the policy on the right, the NRA, all those groups will snatch onto that one part and derail what would otherwise be good common sense legislation that both sides could honestly get behind. And I think that's been one of the things that has derailed it. I remember after Sandy Hook, when they were trying to pass, and I don't even think she actually put it in, but I believe it was Feinstein made some comments of how we need to ban this, this, and this. And that was the entire topic after that was they're going to take this, they're going to do that, and that derailed the policy because they snatched onto that one part that someone wanted to add in. And when we could have had something that could have made a huge change that could have prevented many tragedies, it got derailed because someone was overzealous or someone wanted to take a hot mic moment and derail the conversation that was being positive at that point.
Absolutely. Okay. No, I think that's an excellent point, and I think that that happens often, right? When we, and not just with weapon reform, but overall, it seems like once something starts to grab enough public attention and people start to kind of get behind it, then all of a sudden there's a push away from it when it seems like someone puts their own self-interest or whatever the case may be. So yeah, there's a lot to it. Perfect. All right. Last but not least, Dylan, what about you? What do you think the hangups are?
I'd say two things. One, it's from the electorate standpoint, I feel like it's an irrational fear. I mean, this is, I not to get overly political with it, but I think that's what cost like somebody like Beto O'Rourke not to ever be able to, actually hold public office, is because when he said things about, banning ARs or so on and so forth, people got this irrational fear of, oh, he's coming for all of our pew-pews, right? And I think that's one. And then secondly, I'm pretty sure Brett said this, or somebody mentioned the NRA already. And when you follow the money and you realize that, the people that are not passing legislation or common sense pew reform, it's if you follow the money, who's in their pocket. And I think those are like the two big reasons that we haven't really seen any common sense firearm reform. I mean, even with Trump in his first term trying to do as little as possible and ban like bum stocks, that wasn't even allowed to go through. So it's there's a conglomerate of issues.
Got it. All right. So a couple of things. I think that when it comes to the hang up, I really appreciate everything that that all of you said, right? I think there's one thing that wasn't said, and maybe it wasn't said because it's not something that a lot of people think about, or maybe it wasn't said because maybe some people aren't comfortable with saying it. But I'll say it. I think one of the hangups in America when it comes to being able to get some type of reform is insecure men, and the need to attach themselves to a weapon as a quote unquote extension of themselves. And we see this often with times where men overcompensate, they get like the big trucks and they jack the trucks up, or they go buy a sports car that's super fast, or they get all the flashy jewelry, or like it's a thing. It's a thing with men who overcompensate. And just like there's a need to overcompensate in other areas, they overcompensate when it comes to firearms. And they think that they need more and they got to have the big ones and it's got to make the loud noises and it's got to do this and do that. It's the most fragile thing on earth is the male ego, period. And I think that has a lot to do why people perpetuate this culture and then they refuse to say like, hey, we need reform. So I agree with all of the things that all of you guys said, but I'm just saying you can't forget about that one. Now, with that being said, really quick, guys, Debbie's in the chat for Brenda. Brenda sent a $5 donation towards the nightly donation goal. Said their individual rights should not infringe on others' rights to life. And in quotations, healthiest as possible, liberty and pursuit of happiness. And then she gave a fist sign to Brett. Brenda, thank you so much for that $5 donation, guys. That means we only have $230 left in our nightly donation goal. If you like to support the live, it's the best way to do so is through the nightly donation goal. If 230 people send $1, we can close out our nightly goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links and the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks For You is the best way to support the live. Anything's accepted. Everything's appreciated. If you're over on the tube, you can send a super chat. And guys, don't forget about Brett. Brett is co-hosting with me for the week. So not only do we want to take care of him with gifts, but his pay links are running in the poll. So guys, make sure you show Brett some love through his pay links as well. All right, let's get into it. Now, I know I have multiple things on the background, and we're going to get into those other things in the background as well, but I have to jump here. And I want to start with just Alpha if you're back. I want to get into why is it, or I guess better than why, I want to jump to where's the line? Where's the line? Because it seems like a lot of people, care, and then adults lose their lives in the movie theaters, and that's not enough. And then adults lose their lives in church, and that's not enough. And then people lose their lives at the mall, at nightclubs, and that's not enough. And then kids lose their life, and that's not enough. And then even on the right, one of the most controversial figures and someone who supposedly is loved by so many people lose their life, and that's not enough. So just Alpha, where's the line?
I honestly cannot tell you. I genuinely thought for Charlie Kirk's tragic demise that it would be enough, but I really would not be able to give you a proper answer. I guess it really just does tie back a lot to the culture of the United States, to where people literally grew up with the phrase of the rights to bear arms shall not be infringed upon. Like that's like drilled in your head throughout the school system, regardless of where you go. And I went to very liberal schools, and it was still something that was like talked about. We learned civics, and that was the Second Amendment was obviously talked about, and we had debates about that as well. And I did go through active shooter drills, which was horrible. It was a very not fun experience. But with regards to where would people draw the line, I just don't know, because it is really in large part because our society is so graciously and easily normalized firearms and the violence and homicides that come from them after Sandy Hook in 2012. Like that was really after such little action was taken from that, the stage was set for a more for more acceptance with regards to the literal thousands of people who end up losing their lives because of these machines. And you see that also with our police forces as well. They've become more militarized, more kitted out, particularly our counter T force, which is the FBI SWAT.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting point that not a lot of people talk about, but the amount of weaponry that's held by like the police force is super interesting. Not even interesting. Like it's unnecessary. But I think that lends itself to the actual culture that we have here in the U.S., which is one of firearms. So, perfect. Thank you for that, Just Alpha. Amber, I want to come to you. So I know, like Just Alpha just said that they couldn't actually answer the question. And I feel like I know what the answer is for you, right? And I feel like I know what the answer is for Brett as well. But I guess, Amber, how do you convey your message to other people that they actually get it? Because I hate to say it like this. I fucking hate to say, excuse my language. Sorry. I hate to say it like this, but it seems like people don't care until it happens to them. How do we get this across to them so we don't have to wait for it to happen to them before they care?
I wish I had a good answer to that question because I've been telling my story and fighting for this for 30 years. Didn't start telling it publicly until probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago. But there isn't a line, I'm sorry to say. If what's happened already hasn't even moved the needle on what's been able to be done, I don't think there is one. The only thing this is going to sound really, probably, this might be offensive to some people, but I think Brett will understand. I think if more of these incidents were caught on video and people were forced to see them without knowing they were about to see them, that might move more people than we've moved with anything else, to be honest. Because when you see something like that, like what we just saw, for example, you realize how quickly these things happen and how totally unprepared people are most of the time, and that even if they were prepared, there's nothing they could have done.
Yeah. No, I think, and again, a lot of people, for some reason, they're the hero in their own head, and it's interesting that they always feel that way and think that they could be the ones to stop it, where most people tend to freeze up in those types of situations, and not just those type of situations, but high pressure situations. And it's always interesting that they think that, I'm going to be the one that can do it, and so I need this or I need that. I don't think so.
And the other thing is, even people who are trained and prepared, like police officers, for example, who go into a situation, like they're called to a domestic violence dispute, for example, where they know that there's somebody there who is armed. So they're prepared for the possibility for fire to come at them, and they still unalive. We just had 3 officers unalived in North Carolina this past week. They knew they were going into a dangerous situation. They were as prepared as they could be. Didn't help.
Yep.
Right?
Yep, absolutely.
So even if you aren't the type of person who freezes or isn't trained or isn't prepared, that doesn't usually matter.
Yep.
If you think of a situation where somebody's coming at you with a firearm and you try to come, you're just going to have basically like the Wild West here with stuff flying everywhere, and people around you are going to get hit.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more.
It's not the superhero fantasy they have in their head.
It's not. And I think a lot of people make this up because they fantasize about what they could or would do or things like that. Marie, coming to you. Why do people for some reason believe that they can be the one person that somehow steps up and they're the good guy that beats the bad guy, when like really if we just address the issue that's at the core, at the root, instead of just saying like, hey, we need more weapons, if we just say like, hey, we need better protections around weapons, like why not address that than everybody just thinking that they're going to be Billy the Kid or whatever.
You know what, Santana? I think until somebody finally, like, you actually can see the unalived children and like in York, Pennsylvania, there was just 3 troopers killed in York, Pennsylvania and stuff, but they always take them out. I think we need to start being a lot more graphic and making people like realize this is not just a game. Okay, it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy they need to see, I think.
So you think people have become too desensitized because it's becoming a standard, and it's not something that they even see. It's just something that they read about, or they may see a snippet here or there.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you for that. Guys, Debbie's in the chat for Kenzie. Kenzie sent a $5 towards the nightly donation goal, saying, towards your donation goal, I'm not a firearm owner, but I've always enjoyed your discussions. Keep it up. Thank you so much for that. You are absolutely too kind. Also, guys, just came in. Debbie's in the chat for Morgan. Morgan sent a $10 donation towards the nightly donation goal. And said conservative media and politics have long painted left-leaning policies, especially on weapon reforms, as un-American. This framing makes compromise nearly impossible, since any agreement on weapon control is seen as betraying core values rather than resolving real problems. I couldn't agree more. And again, it's not about actually restricting anyone. It's simply about protecting people, right? I mean, at least from my point of view, I'm not advocating to overall take away anyone's access to their weapons, but I do think that, like, hey, we need to have this conversation because it's something that's become so prevalent in our society, and we just need to protect the people. But W's in the chat for both Morgan and both Kenzie. Thank you so much, guys. If anyone else would like to, guys, we only have $219 to close out our nightly goal. We can definitely do that. There's 430 people here. 215 people send $1. We can close it out. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. All the pay links and the link tree in the bio. Santana speaks for you. Best way to support the live. Everything's accepted. Anything's appreciated. And you can send a super chat if you're over on the tube. We got a new person on the panel, Jesse. Jesse, how are you this evening?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing, sir?
Good. Jesse, can you tell the people, where do you stand on this side of the conversation? Do you think that, yes, we need 2A reform, or no, we don't need to touch 2A? And then also, are you a card-toting member of 2A?
If you're talking about gun reform,
let's say weapon or firearm. Let's try to stay away from saying GUN.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, weapon reform.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, how much do you really think it's going to stop it from coming into the country?
Wait. Hold on. Before we go too far, Jesse, can you answer those first two questions?
What are the? Yeah. Same again.
Yeah. Where do you fall on the side of the conversation? Do you think we need reform, or we do not need reform? And are you also someone that is a weapon owner?
I don't own a weapon because I have a child. If I didn't have a child, I'd probably own a weapon inside my home. I'm kind of in the middle. I don't think that, extreme reform is going to get rid of guns.
Weapons or
weapons.
Yeah.
Weapons.
Can you tell me what you mean when you say extreme reform?
So what would you? Okay, so I heard you say earlier that that they weren't talking about taking away all their pew-pews. Mm-hmm. But I've also heard the Democratic Texas governor who was running saying, "Hell yes, we're going to
Beto O'Rourke."
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We're going to take all your weapons. So I've heard both sides of it. I definitely don't support taking everybody's weapons. I mean, background checks are definitely, maybe they could be more thorough. Yeah. I mean, I've tried to get a gun.
So let's do this really quick. Because I think the best person, at least the person that's articulated the points that I stand behind as far as what I believe reform looks like, is Brett Cross. I mean, I think there may be one thing that he and I kind of a little bit different than, but overall, I think we're spot on. So, Brett, one, I want to give you the floor because I want you to be able to have this conversation with Jesse and take it further. But two, can you clearly lay out for Jesse and just everyone that's watching at the moment, what does it look like when we talk about reform?
Right. So when we're talking about firearm reform, we're talking about things such as an assault weapons ban, universal background checks, red flag laws, safe storage laws, things such as a written and physical test before purchasing them, licensing, insuring, registering, any of those measures. Those are all common sense firearm reform. One thing real quick before I need to push back just a little bit on what Jesse, or not push back, but correct something. But I did want to give a shout out to Nightblade real quick for the $3 who said, Santana fan, first time seeing you, appreciate you. Thank you so much, Nightblade. Jesse.
Yes, sir.
So Beto never said we're coming for all of your gun or your firearms.
He did. I can quote it in the video and send it to you. I mean, if it's that serious.
It's this. We're not debating here. This is late nights. What I am going to inform you of though is that he said that ARs, not all firearms, just ARs. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to correct that real quick. But when we're talking about things such as AR bans specifically, do we know what those are, right? Do we know what this actually entails? Because I think the problem with an assault weapons ban is the name.
Okay.
So Jesse, do you know what an assault weapons ban does?
Tell me.
So it halts the production, so no more are made. It's not made nor imported. So it doesn't ban you from having them or owning them.
Legally.
No, it doesn't ban you from having or owning them. It bans them from being made anymore or imported anymore.
Yeah, but you can't ban worldwide. You can only ban what is federal.
Right. Well, we wouldn't need to ban, like, I don't know, China's ports for getting ARs when we only need to worry about our own.
It's like America's biggest drug problem probably
drugs. Also, hey, Jesse, make sure you don't say the name of any actual.
Okay. Yeah. Rug problem of all time is fat. Would you agree? Yeah. That comes mainly from China. It is not legally here unless you are in the ER and extensive care. It is, but it's not being brought here legally.
Well, so let me correct that. That's actually incorrect. The majority of F drug does come in legally. Like the large majority of F drugs come in. No, it is. It comes in legally, and what happens is that it's actually either stolen or rerouted or redistributed for nefarious means. But the majority comes in through legal means, and then it's used for illegal means. I mean, you can specifically look at the example with our vice president, right? JD Vance. His mother was someone who engaged in the actual use of illegal substances as a nurse. And so she did exactly that with that type of drug. So like that's what happens. People they bring it into the country for medical use, and then people who are supposed to be arbiters of said medical use ends up using it for nefarious means.
Yeah, that's false information.
What's false information?
Most of the Fedi does not come in legally. It comes in illegally through the Postal Service or through past.
All right, that's fine. I mean, we can look that up and quote unquote fact check it at another time. But I don't want to get too far away from the point of the conversation because the conversation isn't around. 1 second, Jesse.
Once you make something illegal, it makes it a market for other people.
Hey, Jesse, this is not a debate. We're not going to talk over each other. We're not going to be rude. This is a conversation. We go one at a time, and we won't have one person monopolize the overall conversation. I don't want to talk about D-Rugs. I want us to get back to firearm reform, and I want us to stick to firearm reform. So Jesse, you can go ahead and come off mute. I would love for us to bring it back to the conversation around 2A. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I think that we have to stick to logic and markets. And when markets open, particular groups take advantage of those markets, and they still will, no matter what sanctions or reform we put on them. There's somebody that is willing to capitalize in the world on it, and that's just my belief. It's been proven with multiple other substances.
Jesse, we're not talking about substances. We're not.
Okay.
Jesse, this is the last time I'm telling you. Please respect the boundaries of the conversation. This is a panel discussion around firearm reform. This is not about illegal substances. We're only talking about reform. Please stay on topic, or we're going to have to move on, Jesse. I want to keep you here on the panel. I want your voice to be heard, but you have to actually engage with the topic of conversation. Again, I'm going to go ahead and send you a request to come off mute.
Yeah, I feel like I am engaging with the conversation. You just disagree with what I'm saying. But if we want to talk about a different subject, go ahead and lead me down a road that you want me to talk about in regards to reform, and then we'll discuss.
No. Guys, and I'm being very sincere and very serious. This is not a debate. This is not a debate, and we're not here to talk about other random topics. We're here to talk about firearm reform, and that's what we're going to talk about. So if you're looking to actually debate some other topic or go off on a diatribe about something else, then you're in the wrong spot, wrong time. I know when I'm debating, I tend to bounce all around the board, but this is about 2A. This is about reform, and we have Brett Cross up here, and we have Amber, and not to mention everyone else on the panel, but we will respect the people that we have here and the topic that's set for this week. So just an FYI for anyone that's requesting up, please make sure you understand that this is all about reform. That's the conversation. It's not about illicit substances. It's not about the political or politics or what happened this week. It's this. Everything needs to come back to this, just to make sure that I set the stage.
Hey, Santana, I got to drop in a second. Is it okay if I weigh in on the topic of where the line
Floor is
is?
yours. Go right ahead.
All right. So I was thinking about it a little bit, and I really love the sentiment of the couple of panelists that have already covered it. And I thought to myself, well, would you agree that history is one of our greatest teachers?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, what is something, let's say, shortly after our independence that half of the forefathers said, no, we're not giving this up, similar to firearms?
Slavery or slaves.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering now, is the line actually at a point where we actually have to go to war with each other to...
That's a big one. I've never thought of it that way. What do you
Because
think?
if you think about it, yeah, back then, slavery was a culture in and of itself, was it not?
Yes, it absolutely was.
I mean, it was essentially people conceptually being seen as property, a lot like firearms. I think there are a lot of parallels to this.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I think that that's something that we're going to have to discuss because, again, I mean, I will say that firearms is something that's been ingrained into who we are as Americans and our culture. And so, like, that's not far-fetched. That's not far-fetched. But, yeah. Anyway, Kosher, thank you so much for coming up. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for the time. Much love to everyone.
Absolutely. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Guys, just for the people who were up on the panel before, and I tried to tag you in the comments, but I don't necessarily always want to break up the conversation. So if I drop you, I am trying to rotate people in and out so we can continue the conversation and we get as many people in as possible. So if you were up on the panel and you were removed, It's because I'm trying to cycle people in and out. So that's the reason. So just an FYI. Also, guys, just a couple of thank yous that I have to call out. Thank you. W's in the chat for Rich, who sent a $2 super chat to say Trump turned politics into drill rap. MAGA FAFO. That's funny. Also, W's in the chat for Alania over on the Tube, who sent a $2 super chat to say Parker Ray. Thank you so much for that, guys. If you're over on the Tube, make sure you're hitting that like button. Also, W's in the chat for Alexis, who sent a $1 donation towards the nightly donation goal. Guys, that means we only have $214 left in our nightly donation goal. So if you would like to support the live, the best way to do so is through the nightly donation goal, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. All the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. We have over 1.1 thousand people hanging out right now. If 214 people send $1, we can close out our nightly donation goal. Santana speaks for you. Best way to support the live. Everything is accepted. Anything's appreciated. We also have my co-host, Brett Cross, who is in the box right below me, who's hanging out and running this topic with me. We're talking about what's needed as far as two-way reform in this country. And he's going to be co-hosting. So make sure we take care of him. Not only sending him gifts, but his pay links are running in the poll. Make sure that we show Brett some love as well. And last but not least, this is an open conversation for everyone. So if you're watching right now and you've never joined a live space and you've always wanted to do so, this is your chance. This is your chance. It does not matter if you are on the side of saying, yes, we need reform, or you're on the side of saying, no, we do not need reform. Please, you can go ahead and join the conversation. So get in the box. Everyone is welcome to actually join the conversation. We will be doing this tonight, tomorrow night, and Wednesday night, and I will try to swap people out as quickly as possible so we can keep the conversation moving. Last but not least, just want to remind everyone, this is late nights, especially people that just got here that maybe you didn't get a chance to hear some of the things that I said earlier, but this is a safe and friendly community. That means we don't deal with any of the isms, racism, sexism, classism. We also don't do any of the phobias, homophobia, transphobia, none of that. We don't use caps because caps are for mods. So please be mindful of this space and be respectful of the community. We're here for a good conversation, and we're here to learn from each other. So please, please, please be mindful of all of those things. With that being said, we have two new people on the panel, and I'm going to go ahead and bring up some more people here in just a moment. Joanna, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Joanna, can you tell the people, where do you fall on the side of the conversation? Do you think we need reform to two-way, or do we need to keep it as is? What are your thoughts?
I absolutely think that we need reform, and as someone who is, as you said earlier, a card-carrying 2A member,
yes,
and I'm in a state where they're so prevalent that we sell ammunition in vending machines in
Holy
Arkansas.
smokes.
I absolutely think we need reform.
Okay, perfect. Give me a second here. Let's see here. Oh, hold on. Somebody has a doggy in the background. I'm sorry. We got new people here. Boom. We have System Shock. There we go. System Shock. How are you?
I'm okay.
Wonderful. System Shocks, where do you stand on the side of the conversation? Do you think that we need reform, or do you think that we don't need reform? And are you a card-toting member of 2A?
I think we definitely need reform, and I own a Springfield 1911, and unfortunately a SIG P320, so I am a card holder. But so yeah, I definitely think we need reform, but I think the issue runs so deep in our culture that there's going to need to be cultural changes that happen before anything actually changes. And I think that the issue comes down to, honestly, humans are violent by nature. Like, we wage war all the time, and I feel like the gun debate, or the pew pew debate has become a battleground in and of itself here. And people want to fight, and that shows in the way that they handle information, because there's so much disinformation around firearm control. Because I hear people all the time say they want to take away all of our firearms when they don't want to take away all of our firearms, and they don't want to hear any kind of facts about the situation. And if it was just about 2A, they wouldn't be supporting things like having my 2A rights taken away.
Yeah.
Because I'm an American.
Yeah,
I'm a law-abiding.
listen. Wait, don't give it away too quickly, because we are going to get into that. We're going to get into that. Perfect. Give me a second here. Hawaiian Bear, how are you?
Doing well. How are you, Santana?
Wonderful. Hawaiian Bear, can you tell the people where do you fall on the conversation? Pro-reform, anti-reform, and are you a member of 2A?
I am a member, and I am for reform. I just wanted to say that I sold a lot of firearms, working with a lot of 4473s. I'm sure Brett knows what that is. But people don't really enforce that paperwork, and that's another thing. People who sell the firearms are very, very, very sketchy. If I see one thing wrong, I denied the firearm sale completely. I didn't even joke around. They came, if they were a little wop, anything. I can deny a firearm sale for whatever reason. I feel that if it's not comfortable, I don't do it. I've gotten into arguments with customers. I've gotten threats from customers that wanted to kill me that night because I refused them a firearm. Oh, I'm sorry, on the live. Mm-hmm. Because I refused to sell a firearm, which is ridiculous.
Okay.
I just wanted to give you that point of view.
I think that's something that not a lot of people do and not a lot of people know. So we're going to talk more about that as well. Perfect. Thank you so much. Rox Fox, how are you?
Hey, I'm so sorry about the dog barking.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry about the dog barking.
Oh, no. You're good. You're good. Where do you fall on the side of the debate? Yes, reform, no reform, and are you a card-toting member of 2A?
I don't have 2A, and I'm all about, I don't care, ban it. Ban all of them. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care.
All right. Yeah. Perfect.
Oh my God, I just want to say I love you, and I love Brett, and I'm so honored to be here. And I love Amber. I just wanted to say that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. All right, guys, we're gonna get into the conversation a little bit more. Really quick though, I want to say thank you. Thank you to Hannah. Hannah sent a $10 donation towards the nightly donation goal and said, just no thoughts, just chilling. Well, you know what? You can chill with us. Hang out. Also, W's in the chat for Devonna, who sent a $1 donation saying, can I join as a Canadian? I'll allow it. Actually, for this conversation, I think we can get a little bit of input from Canadians because of the perspective. I know there's such a dramatic difference as far as like the amount of mass shootings when it comes to firearms in Canada versus the United States, and they've implemented some of the same laws that Brett was actually speaking about. And we want to actually, engage in that conversation as well. So yes, if you're a Canadian and you want to give that perspective, you are welcome. With that being said, guys, we only have $203 left in our nightly donation goal. I know for a fact that we can close it out. There's almost 900 people still hanging out here with us. So if 203 people send $1, we can close it out. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links in the link tree in the bio. Santana speaks for you. Best way to support the live. Everything's accepted. Anything's appreciated. Brett, before we go any further, any thank yous that you want to call out?
Not yet, brother. Not yet.
Okay, guys, make sure we're taking care of Brett Cross. His pay links are running in the poll. Let's make sure we're showing Brett some love, not just with the gifts, but let's make sure that we take care of him in his pay links as well. All right, so let's get into it. I know that we kind of talked about what's the hang up, but now I want to talk about like reforms and benefits. And Chewy, I want to start with you. Chewy, I want to come to you. What do you think reforms look like? Like, what I know Brett kind of laid out the actual things that we're talking about with the background checks and all this other stuff. But like, what does reform look like to you, and how does that benefit everyone?
Great question. So when you look at reform, there's basically two ways to enforce any form of reform. You either penalize or you incentivize. And I've had the debate with Brett about different ways to come up with incentivizing people to increase safe storage, things of that nature, where, like, say for safes, you incentivize it as a tax write-off to encourage people to purchase safes, locks, etc. Doing things like that can help change those reform laws, because they're not seeing it as they're being penalized if they don't have this, but they're getting that incentivization to have the safe storage. Like for me, example, I mean, I have my, what is it, a 32 for my long. I have my, I actually just upgraded because Brett was on me a little bit, for my concealed carry. I got a new one for that that's more safe and secure than the old tin lockbox that I had for years. I got one that's dual mounted and safety rail. So kiddo can't get into it. No one can get into it. No one can run off with it. So, like, just having that conversation helped improve me as someone who is. I always joke around with Brett that I'm a quote unquote amasexual.
Okay.
But, you know, even though I'm very, you know, what would most people consider 2A, like, again, I very much see the need for reform and can support reform, but we need to, in my opinion, approach reform in ways that don't dissuade people from the idea of reform. That's why, like, even though it's misunderstood and I totally would be supportive of it, I think when you bring up things like the AWB, assault weapons ban, people hit the brakes and freak out.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
like, and
Wait,
that's
hold
why I think
on,
we
hold
just
on.
need to.
Don't give it don't give it away too much. And I want to stay right there. Give me a second. Joanna, what do you think about what
Yep.
Chewy just said? Do you think that, because Brett kind of mentioned it earlier, right? And it sounds like that certain words make people really kind of, I don't want to say triggered, but they immediately clench their pearls, and, you know, their cheeks pucker up or whatever. Like, do we need to understand the logic behind what we're saying in order to get that pass? I mean, I know you're someone that's in, you know, a public servant. Like, what do you think as far as the way that we, I guess, not verbalize this, but just, I guess, for lack of better words, the way we market whatever type of reform we're trying to achieve?
I think that, like, the specific messaging that we use can be important to get what we're actually trying to do across, but there will absolutely still be people who don't care. Like, it doesn't matter how phenomenal the messaging is. Like, in this last presidential election we had, Kamala had a 5,000 point plan that was very well articulated. The people who didn't care still didn't care. We're still going to have hangups, and I do think that we need the AWB. I feel like it would be helpful. People say, well, no, that's what I use to hunt. No, it's not. If that's what you use to hunt, then you need to go take some target practice lessons, because you're going to ruin the deer meat that you're trying to hunt if that's what you're using to hunt. You're not a great shot and you need some practice.
Yep.
That's also not the ideal firearm for, say, home protection. It's not practical. Get you a pistol. Like, it's not necessary. And I think that, like, providing the statistics and making the messaging better is not necessarily going to be as helpful as we think it should be, because we have common sense. And these are common sense reforms that we're trying to put in place that are constantly bucked against.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. And I think a lot of people push back because they fantasize those things in their head. And I think it's also an instance of saying, like, once you start taking away or saying that you're going to take away certain things, or people can't have certain things, then they want it, right? I think that's what it boils down to, is like they often say, well, you know, I want this because you say that I can't have this.
I get that, and that could be a thing, probably will be a thing if we did an AWB. Absolutely, there are going to be people that run out and try to buy a whole bunch of them before it actually goes into place. But I think that's, like I said, another one of the hangups. Like the money that the NRA pumps into elected officials for their votes against it. They
Okay.
had no issue, and Brett and Amber touched on this a little bit when they spoke about the hangups, the whole supremacy culture in itself. We also have to look at white supremacist ideology when we talk about that because, sorry, when the Black Panthers came out and we're having black people arm up because our civil rights leaders were getting the A word that I don't want to say because I don't want to damage the life, and police were running rampant doing the most. The NRA and the right had no problem agreeing with reform then.
Okay. I want to stop right there because I'm gonna stay on that, but I want to hop over to Amber because Amber, I have one last thing for you, and then I'm gonna swap you and Chewy out, and I want to get a few more people in here. But I want to come back around to that. But Amber, money that's being pumped into politicians' pockets from the NRA, right? We understand like lobbyists have so much control over not only our government and the type of laws that are passed, but honestly, they have so much control over our day-to-day life. As someone who advocates for reform, as someone who's been directly affected by firearm violence, what's your position on like the culpability that the NRA has as far as the mass unalivings that we see on a daily basis within our country, and then also the lack of progress that we've been able to make as far as any type of reform?
I mean, in my opinion, they're the number one contributor to both of those things. Between the money and the messaging, I agree. They're the biggest barrier to prevention and change. But can I just make one comment about something that
Amber,
came up previously?
You know you got the floor. You know you can go wherever you want.
Okay, so I know we're not on the substances conversation, but actually firearms and substance problems are intimately connected. And here's why. Mexico gets 75% of their weapons from the United States, both legally and illegally. And that arms the cartels, which helps them get more of that illicit stuff into our country, which the GOP is constantly claiming is such a crisis and are the biggest problem that we have. And ironically, they are funding the thing that is making it worse. So I just wanted to point that out. We're making that country more dangerous and then in turn our own by doing that. The Mexican government actually sued our government over this issue. There's like an active suit out against them for the amount of illegal trafficking and legal trafficking that's going into their country. So those things are connected.
Yeah. And
I know people might not think of it, but they are.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. And like, let's be honest, right? The unsavory underbelly of who we are as a society is intimately intertwined with firearms and illicit substances, trafficking of people. Like all of those things are connected. And once you start to address, one of the issues, it makes it easier to address the rest. But like specifically, if we can target, firearms and make it harder for them to get it, like there's no way we can say that, oh, we're gonna just stop all the bad guys from being able to get these weapons. But if we make it harder for them to get the weapons, then it's gonna put a damper on not only their business but all other connecting businesses. So I think that's really great to call out, and I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's the reason why we're so afraid of the cartels? Why have we tried declaring them as, T organization? Why? Because they're so heavily armed, and they have been able to use that to intimidate and traffic. And it's just ironic to me that the GOP focuses a lot, or at least they say they care about illicit substance problems and human trafficking and child trafficking, and they are funding and supporting the very thing that is helping that thrive.
Yep.
And they don't see the connection there. And it's the money going into the gun lobby, the PP lobby. And why are we manufacturing, over 200,000 of these things a year just to send over there?
Yep.
Why are we doing that? What are we doing?
Could not agree more. Could not agree more. But Amber, Chewy, thank you both for coming up. I really appreciate you both. And guys, you're welcome to come back at any time.
Love you.
Yeah, go right ahead, Chewy. I love you more, Amber.
As a lifetime member of the NRA, I get financial disclosures and all that because I was invested in it for a couple decades now. I got it as a child. It was gifted. The lifetime membership was gifted to me, but I see the financial disclosures. And one thing that I think a lot of people don't realize anymore is the NRA is not the force it is. There's a lot of other lobbyist groups that people need to look at now. Wayne LaPierre bankrupted the NRA, throwing extravagant parties, filling his friends' pockets. Like, the NRA is a shell of its former self. The last year, they put in about a third of what they used to put in to lobbying. So there's a lot of other groups that need to be looked at and talked about if you want to talk about going after lobbying groups. So I would just put that out there. And then, since I always get this to you, usually it's when I'm in Brett's, when I bring up the fact I'm a card carrying person. Everyone's like, "Oh no, you're not, because you're for reform." In case anyone's questioning, I'll put it up there. There's my card. I'm 100% card carrying. I'm not making it up. If it wouldn't get your live taken down, I'd show you enough firearms that would make most developing countries jealous.
Okay.
Yeah, I like I said, I joke around, but I mean, I have quite a few, but I am who I am, but I 100% again, I believe there's reform, and I believe we can make reform that doesn't strip rights, but protects the people and make sure we don't let these firearms into the wrong hands, don't let people that shouldn't have them, and it doesn't infringe upon us as Americans.
Yeah, I completely agree, and thank you for coming up, Chewy. I mean, like, honestly, you have absolutely added a ton to this conversation, and I really appreciate you. And I agree, right? Like, again, if I had to give up my firearm in order to, protect other people, I would. But if we can have some type of reform that allows people to be able to keep their weapons and, do things like I'm all for it. Like, I think we have to find some type of compromise. And I don't think it's fully necessary to just say, oh, we're going to take away people's pew-pews or ban the second. Like, I don't think that's necessary. But I do think there's, some way to figure something out. But Chewy, thank you so much for coming up. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me up, Santana. I'll be up the rest of the night too if available.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get a few more people in here in just a moment and also keep the conversation pushing around the panel, specifically systems. I'm coming to you next because I want to get back to what you were saying because that's some interesting stuff that's happening. First, just a couple of quick... I'm sorry?
Oh, I was just saying I got a lot of thoughts. That's it.
Okay. Just a couple of quick thank yous, guys. W's in the chat for Just Alpha, who sent a $2 super chat to say, thank you for your time, Santana. Hope to return soon. Absolutely. Listen, late nights is where you need to be. Thank you so much for joining the conversation, Just Alpha. W's in the chat for Aliyah. Thank you for doing it phonetically for me. We cool. I know. I be messing up. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Debbie's in the chat for Nathan, who sent a $2 super chat to say, I don't think I can list those out on TikTok, but yeah, I agree. There's a list of certain weaponry that Nathan was pointing out that would be acceptable, and I agree. I just can't say those on the old TikTok. W's in the chat for Nina, who sent a $10 super chat to say Illinois is proposing a bill that would mandate that firearm manufacturers obtain a license where the annual fees are calculated based on the estimated public health costs from the firearm injury. SB 2297. That sounds fucking awesome. I'm telling you, if we can start finding ways to actually institute things like that, whether it be like insurance or making, like these manufacturers culpable or whatever, then I think you'll see a lot of different reform and you'll see a lot of different changes. So yeah, Debbie's in the chat for Ashley, who sent a $5 donation towards the nightly donation goal, saying yes for reform. I completely agree. Debbie's in the chat for Benjamin, who sent a $1 donation saying, at what point do you think violence is needed? I think that's a loaded question. I think that's a topic for another time, Benjamin, because I'm not going to say that it's not, but I also think that it's more of like a
that's a debate topic.
It is. It's also like an ends to a means. I understand people's mindset when they say that like nothing has ever been achieved through like peace or whatever, but like there's a lot to it. So Benjamin, I can't really get into that here on Late Nights, but another time. W's in the chat for Jacqueline, who sent a $2 donation saying, sorry, I can't give more, but thank you for what you do, Jacqueline. First and foremost, I appreciate you more than you can imagine. I truly mean that. I know times are hard, and I understand that like donating anything is a large lift, and I don't expect anything from anybody. I really don't. Hell, I don't even expect people to watch when I turn on my camera. So for you not only to be here, to be engaged, but also to donate anything, it means the world to me. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that $2. You're fucking amazing. Language. This is Late Nights. I apologize. W's in the chat for Jeremy, who sent a $2 donation. Said, hey, Santana, it's Kosher, dude. Thank you for the convo and for fostering a safe environment. I get down with the Knights. Absolutely. Listen, I'm happy to have you here. I'm happy to have like an actual place where we can have real conversation and respectful conversation. It's important. It's important, especially like social media can be so toxic. TikTok can be so toxic. Debate space can be so toxic. And we have people who get locked into, they just want to debate, they just want to argue. And I think there's a need to have like real conversation, like real conversation with each other as real people without having to yell and, scream and all this other stuff. So thank you so much for that, Jeremy. Guys, that means we only have $194 left in our nightly donation goal, and I know we can knock it out. If you are interested in supporting the live, the best way to do so is through the pay links, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links in the link tree in the bio. Santana speaks for you. Best way to support the live. Anything's accepted. Everything's appreciated. If you're over on the tube, you can send a super chat. I will read that out. And Brett, you got some?
Yes, sir, I do. W's in the chat to William, who sent in 20 and said, take another sip of the Monster. I absolutely will, because that's how I get down.
I got some, and I'm trying to find, yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Brett.
Also, W's in the chat to Jasmine, who sent in 5 and said, thank you for all you do. Love what you do. Keep up the good fight. I appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. Perfect, guys. Don't forget to take care of Brett. Brett's going to be here co-hosting with us this week. So make sure we're showing Brett some love. All right. I'm going to get some more people in here, but as I do that, systems. So this Trump administration, right? It's interesting how there is a proponents of wanting to always have access to our Second Amendment right, but then for some reason they say, hey, transgender people shouldn't have access to the Second Amendment. We need to find a way to strip them of their rights to access the Second Amendment. Now, like you and I've had this conversation. We already know, like, we're talking about less than 1% of the population. We're talking about people that are being villainized. We're talking about like what happened in the 1930s when the Nazis specifically went after transgender people first in order to set the stage for the other horrible things that they want to do. We know that people tend to actually target marginalized communities first in order to make it seem like things aren't so bad, because a lot of people don't care if it's not happening to them. And you talk about like less than 1% of the population. Most people don't know anyone that is transgender. And so for Donald Trump and this administration to even suggest that they're going to look to take away your Second Amendment rights when understanding that like literally you're under attack, like that's a lot. So the floor is yours. What do you think?
So that's absolutely intentional. So I think the whole reason that they're doing this is to tap in to the part of the American base that is transphobic, specifically appealing to those people to gain their votes. And so there's a lot of like I can link this all back around to that. So there's this gun culture in America. Obviously, it probably started with how our country was, the firearm culture in our country, and it probably began with how our country was founded through using firearms to gain our independence and to gain our freedom. And that fight for freedom is part of our culture as well. People always want to be fighting for their freedom on both sides. But the thing is, and that fight for freedom is part of is
I got it. Travis, you have an echo. I'm muting you. We should be good now. Sorry.
All right, but so the thing is that the fight for freedom requires an enemy, and it requires fear. And what they do is they identify people like me as the person, as the people to be afraid of, as the thing as the enemy, as the other. And they make it this us versus them culture because they want to have the firearm culture of America on their side. And they know that if they make us an enemy and they make them afraid of us, then they're going to get their vote, because it's going to be the Republicans coming to save their firearm rights, and then with their firearms they can save their family, and it just plays into this whole power fantasy that they all have.
Yeah.
And all this is to fund the lobbyists. All this is to help the lobbyists, the NRA and all that stuff. It all comes down to that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And again, I think it actually comes back to needing a bad guy, right? I mean, and this is just my personal opinion. The right often needs a quote unquote bad guy in order to get across the hateful things that they're trying to do. And we understand that like targeting the transgender community and saying like, hey, they're the boogeyman. That's why they've been so adamant about like, oh, we need to keep them out of quote unquote women's spaces. Oh, we need to keep them out of quote unquote women's sports and all this other stuff. Like they're literally just using transgender people as boogeymans, and like it's a catalyst to be able to strip away the rights for everyone else.
It feels like there's always someone with them. Either it's us black people, or it's gay people. Now it's trans people.
It's always a boogeyman. They need a boogeyman. One more thing from you before I push the conversation along, system. What are your thoughts specifically around like understanding that and I'm not advocating for any type of violence or anything like that, but let's be honest, right? I think it's super important for people within the transgender community to know their rights and be proficient with firearms to be able to protect themselves because of how you're being targeted in this country. What do you think about being able to protect yourself and ensure that your Second Amendment right is not infringed on?
It's essential. I mentioned this to Erica, I think, and I don't remember who else I mentioned it to, but I recently received like text messages with my own address.
Holy
of like people like threatening me, and like my Second Amendment right is the only thing that really makes me feel safe in that kind of thing, because honestly, I'm black and I'm trans, and I don't really think the cops are going to prioritize helping me try to figure out who's doing this. So if someone comes to my house in the middle of the night or something, I need to be able to have a way to protect myself, especially when people are so emboldened in attacking us now because of the rhetoric from this administration and the blatant villainizing of all of us. I was literally in a debate space earlier today, and I was trying to talk to this one Republican, and he just kept calling me a PDF file. The entire like every time I tried to speak, doesn't know me, doesn't know anything about me, just kept calling, just kept saying that I was that. And so many people have that mindset, and that justifies so much in their mind. Like that can justify violence against us. That can justify someone coming up and just unaliving me when I'm just like walking down the street because I'm visibly trans. And I am terrified of that every day. Like I work in a hospital overnight, so people see me all the time. Like I see different people all the time. They see my badge with my name on it, and my full name is how the person found my address and sent it to me. So any one of these people that are at this hospital, any of these people that might have a problem with me, they can see my name on there and Google me and find my house. It's insane. And they want to take away my Second Amendment rights because I'm a danger to people? No, it's insane.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. Thank you so much for that. I want to push it around, but I have to read this off. I was gonna hold the thank yous, but I think this is like super important because this really speaks to what System was just saying. And I think like this is something. So W's in the chat for hold on, here it is. W's in the chat for Emily. Emily sent a $5 donation towards the nightly donation goal. It says, hey Santana, what is your response to the argument that gun control is a form of racism because it renders non-white people powerless against their white oppressors? What System just said. Like literally, I am the reason why I threw that question at System is because as a black man, I understand the need to be able to protect yourself in multiple instances, including firearm safety, and understanding that like as a marginalized person in the country, you're always going to be looked at as less than. You're always going to at times receive less rights than others. And making sure that you can protect yourself, your family, and your loved ones is super important. And I think it's important to be able to do it safely, right? I think that there's a need for educating yourself on firearm usage. I definitely believe in safe storage laws, but I also believe in like training, right? Going to the range and making sure that you're proficient with your weapon. You know how to safely unload it and load it, and just all the things. I'm a huge advocate for all of that. So yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. So,
real quick?
Sure. Well, let me finish these off really quick.
Okay.
But thank you so much for that, Emily. Also, my whole face. Thank you so much for the $2 donation towards the nightly goals. And someone mentioned incentivization of via pew pew safety, maybe a program similar to solar panels at homes. I agree. I think the best way that we can get any type of reform is going to be through incentivizing it, and I think that's massive. Also, W's in the chat for Aliyah, who sent a $2 donation to say it's 1:23 a.m. in New York. The rapture it hasn't happened yet. Listen. Somebody lied. Also, W's in the chat for Leah, who sent a $5 donation saying some of these people quit their jobs for the rapture, and they said they were taking say that we take the good with the crazy. Speaking of which, Kirk advocated for the behavior towards you. Yeah, he absolutely did. Absolutely did. Thank you so much for that. Guys, that means that we only have sorry here. $187 left in the nightly donation goal. Santana speaks for you. Best way to support the live. Everything's accepted. Anything's appreciated. Make sure you take care of Brett. System, you had one other thing that you wanted to say, and I want to move it around to everyone else on the panel because I want to let people be able to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to put it plainly what this administration is doing. They're pointing at people like me and saying that's the enemy, and we're going to take away their ability to defend themselves.
Yep. Absolutely. That's absolutely what I was saying. Perfect. Thank you so much for that. All right, Brett. We haven't heard from you in a while. I want to go ahead and give you the floor, and I'll let you take it whatever direction if you want to chime in on what we just said, or whatever direction you want to take it. And then I want to pass it around to Joanna, and then hear from the new people, and we just keep it pushing. So, Brett, floor is yours.
Absolutely, and I appreciate it. And you know me, like I can talk on every single one of these, so I'm trying to limit myself. Specifically, there's two things that I wanted to touch on though. While I do agree, like, how do I say this? So I understand that when people are like, I need a firearm to defend myself. I understand that thinking and everything. Statistically speaking, though, that is almost next to nothing, right? It happens less than 1% of the time that you actually defend yourself against somebody using said firearm. In fact, you have a better chance of protecting yourself against somebody with something other than that, such as pepper spray or a fire extinguisher or any other means like that. But that doesn't take away from the fact that, and this ties into both, the transphobic shit that Trump's trying to do with
language.
With
this is
sorry.
late nights.
So listen, that's the worst you've heard from me. So I'm doing pretty good since. I apologize though. But between that and to touch on, yes, while gun reform has been used, for like a racist, like as a racist tool, when we're trying to implement now is not a racist tool, but more as it's to against everyone. So like we know that, in 1969, the Mulford Act, after the Panthers came in and everything, and Reagan implemented the rules that he did, although like if it was universal, it would have been a good thing for everybody. But since it was targeted just to the black community, it was a racist tool. So I think that we have to, when we're looking at this, we have to understand and acknowledge the history of firearm reform, but also take into consideration that moving forward, we are trying to do it not as a racist tool, but as a means for children to be able to survive, if that makes sense.
Can I add something onto that, Brett? So I agree with like everything you're saying.
Really quick, system, because I really want to get to everybody else on the panel. We will have to hold that. I want to pass it around, but I promise you we'll get back to you.
Okay.
Joanna, floor is yours. Do you want to add to this topic, or do you want to, specifically, I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic and where you fall when it comes to reform, the need for minorities or people part of marginalized communities to be able to protect themselves.
Oh yeah, I agree. As a very outspoken Black woman elected official in Arkansas, which is very much backwoods, I actually went to purchase one last week because my 9 that I had malfunctioned, so I need another one. Because for some reason, people are upset about me not being upset about Tiny Teeth McGee getting popped the other week, and I have gotten more unalivement threats than usual. But at the same time, these hands also work, and they are bisexual. They go every which way they need to go, given any situation. So if I needed to not have one to make schools safer and churches safer and clubs safer and stores safer, I would gladly give it up. I think that incentivizing is a great tool. A buyback program would be fantastic, especially considering how many people are going to be broke soon because the economy's taking a nosedive. A buyback program would be great. I understand that especially minorities, marginalized communities feel safer with them. As Brett did point out, statistically speaking, you are still safer without one. I have relatives that have been victims of firearm violence. I have an uncle who was taken out of here in a very gruesome way with one. I have a cousin who was also taken out in a very gruesome way with one, and both of them were taken out with their own. So statistically speaking, Yes, so it's a bit of a dichotomy because it is difficult to say, well, yes, if a whole lot of people have them, you feel like you want to protect yourself because people are nuts. But at the same time, we know that it's not always going to protect you in certain situations, which is why I think that we need reform on a federal level. So if nobody has access to certain things, you won't feel like you need to have access to it either.
Yep. Yep. Okay. I completely agree. Thank you, Joanna. Dr. Chewy, I want to come to you, get you into the conversation really quick. Where do you fall on the reform? Yes, we need reform. No, we do not need a reform. And are you a card-toting member of 2A?
We definitely need reform, and I'm not sure what you mean by card carrying.
Are you a firearm owner?
Yes, I am. I'm also, and I've spoke to Brett before. Brett, I don't know if you remember me or not, but we spoke.
Absolutely.
I'm a now retired trauma attending physician. I worked in a level 1 ER for about 25 years, the last 5 of which I was an attending physician. We were the only level 1 trauma center in state, and I work in a very red state. I can just tell you, I've talked to Brett about this. If people could see the wounds that these ARs, I'll just throw it out there, cause. I have one of my colleagues was a surgeon in Afghanistan, and they say that they're very similar wounds to what he treated in Afghanistan. And when someone comes in and they've been, and this is a trigger warning, guys. So if anybody if this bothers anybody, please let me know and I'll stop. But the wounds that I see from these type of weapons, there's just simply nothing I can do. The amount of tissue loss and I work with world-class surgeons. The amount of tissue loss and the amount of blood loss is impossible to work with. The gentleman who was unalived famously last week, I saw the video. He's instantaneously gone. But I also would like to speak about people who have non-AR type weapons who don't keep them locked up in the house. I treated far more pew-pew wounds that were self-inflicted than I did of mass casualty events. We have a far greater crisis of people being able to have access to these firearms when they're we think are mentally ill, that they're going to go out and hurt someone. More likely they're going to, and it's like what Brett said when he said defending yourself. No, you're more likely to hurt someone in your home or hurt yourself. I can't tell you how many wounds and how many times we've had to, and if I guess the word amputate would be okay, legs of people who had firearms on their hip and they go off because they don't know how to put a safety on a weapon and they're untrained. Systems was talking about trans folks being in a deep red state. I have seen far more trans children unalive themselves with firearms than trans people harming people with firearms. Someone had said that's no longer on the panel that we need to be graphic with these people. I would love, I no longer work because of medical problems, but I would love to take someone into the trauma center, or there's TV shows that go into literal trauma center. There was one that went into Baltimore, which is one of the busiest in the country. And if you saw what we see, if your attitude did not change on firearm reform, there's something wrong with you. And like I said, these high capacity, high powered weapons that are designed strictly, they're not designed to hunt. They're designed to unalive. And AR-15s, they're usually a 223 round, if I'm not mistaken, Brett. And
223 or 5.56. Correct.
Right, 223 or 5.56. They will do, and we talked about the type of in Uvalde, Brett, and I don't want to trigger,
No,
but
you're
we
good.
talked. You told me the type of wound that your son had, and the type of wounds that the other children had. They had no chance. I was a damn good physician, and I worked with damn good physicians. There's nothing we could have done. Putting aside the fact of the bullshit that happened, if they would have gotten them to.
This is late night, Dr. Chewy.
Sorry, I'm sorry. If they would have gotten them to us in 5 to 10 minutes, maybe, but no. So it's that cut and dry, folks. If you are struck with these weapons, there's about a 95% chance you're going to unalive, unless you get to a good level 1 trauma center with trauma surgeons on station. You're in trouble. But also, we cannot forget the fact that you need to keep these weapons locked up. Even if you own a 6-shooter, that will still unalive a child. That was still someone who's going through a mental crisis, which we've cut funding to because that's what we do now. They cut funding to the veterans hotline for people that are looking to unalive themselves. If that weapon is right there, and I know this just from experience, and they're in a situation where they think there's no way out, it's so easy to pick up and pull that thing.
Yeah.
And the last thing I'll say, and then I'll land my plane. Thank you for having me. Is Brett knows this, and Brett and I talked about this. There's a noise, as someone who has had to tell multiple children's parents, there's a noise that parent makes that will send a chill down. And I'm sorry, forgive me for tearing up. That will send a chill down your spine. That you will, the worst horror movie or the worst thing you've ever in your entire life think you've experienced, until you tell someone their child is gone and the noise they make, you need to seriously take a step back and think about, is this worth it? And I'll land my plane. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people I'll save that thought. I'll save that thought for you and I at the end, Brett. I'll hold on to that. All right. Travis, really quick, where do you land on this side of the conversation? Do you think we need reform? Yes, no, and are you someone that is a weapon owner?
We totally need reform. After what I just heard, even more so. Just, and I don't own a gun as of right now. I probably won't, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Just what I just heard from the guy before just made me break down. I'm sorry. If I start tearing up, I'm sorry. But it's horrible hearing all this stuff, especially if it's a kid. And that's what I was going to talk to you about. It's all these school pew-pews, it's just... words can't describe the anger I have for why we can't have a reform to make it so it's harder for people who have a mental issue to get a gun and go, and go and do a mass casualty event, when we need more help with mental health, because our lovely president thought it was a great idea to cut that and a bunch of other things that would be good. So I don't understand why we can't fund mental health services like the military thing and 988 and all this. Fund all these things, and the trans hotline. Fund these things that people need to talk to people about self-harm. Because if you're gonna, because during COVID, you know, a lot of people
C19.
C19. I'm sorry. A lot of people during C19 had, you know, had even worse mental health issues because they didn't. It was a fear of the unknown. No one knew at the time what was going to happen. You know, so that caused a lot of self-harm, and that could have been saved if, again, our lovely president thought it would be a great idea to make it so he doesn't, you know, how he just can't help anybody for some reason. And the fact that we have to have this conversation in 2025 when it should be said and done, but no, you get all the NRA idiots who go, oh, well, we need to save our guns and all this. One of your big gun pew pew advocates just got pew pewed the other day. Maybe now you can help. Oh, but you won't, because you're gonna make him a martyr now. This country just infuriates me. And
Yeah.
if you're gonna have, you know, like what the doctor said earlier, if you're gonna have that opinion, go and listen to the squeal or the sound or whatever that the parents make when their child is gone. I've heard that in movies, but I'm sure it's way worse in person.
Yeah, I think
Go hear that. Go listen to that.
Yeah, Travis, I agree, and I think that where we are today, and the fact that people lack the overall empathy and the overall understanding is something that we need to talk more about, right? Because I think we get caught up in talking about like rights and it's my property and da 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 da. But like I think the human aspect is something that has lacked, and it really like it seemed like you were a proponent before then, but now, right? It seems like you're even more of a proponent, which is massively positive. So thank you so much for that, Travis. I really appreciate that.
Of course. I mean, like, even very short 5 years ago, I was very staunchly conservative, very close to the far right, about as far as you could get without doing a J6, you know. And over the years, I had a complete change. I won't go on the whole topic. I've told many people about it before, but the pew pew thing is one of them that I completely changed my opinion on, because I have family who are very conservative, who have pew pews and tote them like they're their baby, and I can't stand it anymore. I'm done with it, because we see all of these mass casualty events. We see them every week, every 2 weeks. We see them all the time. I mean, when you know who got pew pewed at the same time a school got pew pewed. Can we change this? Can we fix it? Can we do something about it? Or are we just gonna have to sit here and twiddle our thumbs like a bunch of idiots about not doing anything about it, and more kids get blown away? Excuse me, but what the fuck?
Yeah,
I know this is
no.
this is a nighttime program. I know,
This
but
is my
I'm
mom is
angry about
watching.
it.
My mom is watching, absolutely. But no, I get it. I get it. I completely understand your perspective. And I agree with you, Travis. I do. But Travis, thank you so much for coming up and adding so much to the conversation. I really appreciate you.
Of course, I'd love to come back and talk to you guys again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Activista, how are you? Activista, you're a teacup. You gotta unteacup. You gotta come back in.
If you can't see us, we can't hear you.
Mm-hmm. Activista going once. Activista going twice. Oh, and Activista's gone. All right. Really quick, guys. W's in the chat for W's in the chat for Ellie, who sent a $2 donation towards the nightly donation goal and said, thank you so much. No, thank you. I absolutely mean that. Thank you so much. Also, W's in the chat for Mia, who sent a $1 donation. Mia, I just want you to know, I read your message. I do. I read your message. I sent your information over to the person that needs to get in contact. Unfortunately, I can't read this out until a couple of things occur, and the person will reach out to you about this, and then if we can help, we'll definitely help. But I'm sorry, I can't just read this out at the moment. But I promise you, as soon as we can, do the things that's needed, if we can help, we definitely will help. Absolutely. With that being said, guys, we now only have $177 left in the nightly donation goal. So guys, we can close it out. There's 703 people hanging out. All we need is 177 people to send $1. We can close out our nightly donation goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks for You is the best way to support the live. Everything's accepted, anything's appreciated. If you're over on the tube and you want to send a super chat, I will read that out. And guys, don't forget about Brett Cross. Brett Cross is here hanging out. Make sure that we are not only gifting him, but show him some love. Make sure that we're hitting his pay links as well. Let's take care of Brett. With that being said, System, you had one other thing that you wanted to add.
Yeah, it was to Brett. So I completely agree that the firearms probably aren't going to protect us, but do you statistically, but do you think that would, do you think it would be more dangerous if people looked at someone like me and was like, I know that person doesn't have a firearm, so I feel safer in attacking them?
Not necessarily, and I'm saying this from the point of view of just where I'm from, like Texas, right? Mm-hmm. It is safer to assume that everybody has a firearm, right? Because it's Texas, right? But the thing is that these things still happen, and like I said, I understand the wanting to defend yourself, 100%. Like I said, it's just statistically, it just doesn't happen. And I think that if we could push the reform to where there's just less access period, then you wouldn't have to worry as much. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And on the reform, do you think that so I obviously mandatory safety classes for anyone that wants to own a firearm, but what about a period of waiting between like purchasing the firearm and actually getting it? Because it seems like a lot of these people, they impulsively go and get a firearm and then they go do something terrible.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I haven't pinpointed the exact time yet, but yeah, 30-day waiting, 60-day waiting, 90-day waiting. Like me, as someone that has a firearm, if I wanted to go out and buy another one, I wouldn't need it today. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't mind waiting a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever the case may be, because to your point, people are more likely, if they need it that day, I gotta have it, they're going to do something terrible, whether it's to themselves or to others. And we see a lot of times that people will purchase one just to go home and self-delete as well. So when we talk about gun violence, it isn't just acts upon other people, it is acts upon one's self as well.
Yeah, 100%. My best friend actually took his own life in 2019, so I completely get that.
Yeah, and we see, and first of all, I do apologize. I hate that so much, and my absolute condolences. We see, though, that statistically you're 5 times more likely to self-delete with a firearm, and you're 93% more likely to succeed with a firearm compared to any other means. So it is 100% a firearm issue at that point.
And what do we do about that? Because I feel like a lot of these people that go and get a firearm just to do that, they're not gonna have a long history of on paper something like depression or anything like that. You know what I mean? So it's hard to actually tackle that issue, and I just don't know like what we do.
Yeah, so on the firearm aspect, you know, like you said, the waiting periods, etc. And while I do agree, you know, with mental health, you are more likely to be a victim of firearm violence than to be the perpetrator of it. If you have any sort of like mental health diagnoses or something along those lines. But the thing is that is when we take it back to you're 5 times more likely to actually go through with it, and then the 93% of actually completing it, right? If we take that away, that number drops a lot, and we see that there a lot of times that not having that direct access to these things can ultimately change somebody's life. We know that, you know, what's the saying? It's a permanent solution to a
Temporary
temporary
problem. Yep,
problem.
absolutely.
Absolutely. I know. And in my case, right, like when I was younger, I had that sort of ideation to where I didn't want to be here anymore. And had I had a firearm, I would have, you know, done it like 100%. Luckily, I didn't have access to it and was able to, you know, not saying this works for everybody, but I was able to get out of that quote unquote funk, you know, and then work towards on that mental health. But on the other side of that, we also need to, and it always goes back to the same thing, right? Like vote. We got to vote people in here that actually fund mental health problems instead of cutting mental health funding. And the problem is that the people in power and specifically the Republicans, they always blame firearm violence on mental health, but the problem is they never do nothing about mental health. That way you can always have the boogeyman and never do anything about it, because we would see if we attacked mental health, right, if we funded it and everything, we would still have these issues because of the easy access to the firearms. So then that would blow away their whole BS narrative, right?
Yep.
That it's just the mental health.
Yeah.
Yep, I can. Oh, sorry. Go
I
ahead,
think
Brett.
Oh no, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, no, and systems, I think there's a lot to that, and even more so, I
I
think
think
the
that
overall need to address like mental health is it's bigger than the conversation around firearm reform. But to Brett's point, I feel like people use it as a crutch in order not to address firearm safety. Like, yes, we absolutely have an issue in our country as far as a mental health crisis, but even more than that, we have to understand that there's multiple issues and the issues aren't necessarily connected, but we have to address those issues. And you can't just say, oh, well, it's a mental issue and we're not going to address it because let's, focus on that, because they're not focusing on any of it. But system, I think you have one other thing you want to say, and I'm going to have to drop you down, but go right ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think part of the problem is because a lot of the unalivings happen like it's men usually, and I think that there's a toxic masculinity culture around not wanting to acknowledge your mental health problems, and I think that that's a big part of why a lot of these things happen, because they don't go and get therapy, they don't seek help, they don't even talk about it. They just keep it to themselves until it's too late.
It's a societal problem as well. I mean, growing up in especially in the time like me and Santana grew up in and everything, if you showed any emotion aside from anger and lust, like then it made you less than.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. We would get called all sorts of names or be told to man up or to grow a pair or anything like that that was trying to push us down, and which is completely derogatory to other genders, especially, right? And that is a societal issue that we need to fight, but it starts with the people of like mine and Santana's generation and teaching our children, because like I said, growing up, Santana, how many times were you told, hey, walk it off, be a man,
man up, rub dirt on it, boys don't cry,
yeah,
like all of those things?
Exactly. And so like now it's truly is on us we have to change it. Right. This is why, like with my boys, I've always expressed it very clearly. Man, if you need to cry, cry.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with it. And pushing, like, I talk about it all the time. I think everybody needs mental health services, right? I think everybody should see a therapist.
Yep.
I do push more for men because it is so stigmatized when it comes to men. And but the issue is like I said, it's gotta come from us, because we have to talk about it. We have to destigmatize it. Because to your point, you know, most of the violence is done by men.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but System, thank you so much for coming up. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. I really appreciate you so much, and for adding like just so much to the conversation.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let's see here. Sorry, I got to read these off because you guys are freaking awesome and sent over so many. Let me start here. W's in the chat for Diamond. Diamond sent $2 towards the nightly goal, saying thanks for everything that you do. Diamond, thank you. Thank you for that. W's in the chat for Lori, who sent $1 towards the nightly donation goal, and no message. But thank you, Lori. W's in the chat for Elizabeth, who sent $10.10 toward the nightly donation goal, saying, donation, keep doing your thing, cutie. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. W's in the chat for, I think it's pronounced Dedrea? Dedrea. I think it's Dedrea.
Is it Deidre?
It may, no. I don't think so.
Probably.
I don't
probably
spell Deidre.
Deidre?
Nope, no E. See, I knew it. See? Anyway, thank you so much. W's in the chat for Dedrea. I think it's Dedrea. I think it is. Deidre. Yep. No. Are you making that up? I don't know. W's in the chat for you. Thank you so much, friend. Words are hard. W's in the chat for Isabella, who sent a $3.16 donation, saying, love you guys. I'm an American, but I live in Australia. Weapon reform has worked here since 1996. It used to work here in our country as well before, you know, we got rid of it. So there's that. W's in the chat for Jody, who sent a $10 donation towards the nightly donation goal, said, thank you so much for having the platform you do. Thank you so much for being a part of our community. You're freaking awesome. Thank you. W's in the chat for Chewy. What up, Chewy? Who he sent said, this is Chewy, by the way, sent a $5 donation. Thank you for having me up. I love to come back and continue to speak other nights from the perspective of an avid firearm owner that supports reform that will hopefully make us safer as a nation. Listen, again, we're going to be doing this tomorrow and Wednesday night as well. So you are more than welcome back. You added so much to the conversation. I appreciate you so much. And W's in the chat for, I think it's pronounced Tashid, who sent a $2 donation, who said the 2A was written for militants of white men. Enslaved and indigenous people were barred from arms. You're absolutely right. Again, the Constitution was written for, you know, white men that own land. Like, keep it funky, right? That's what it's about. So, yeah, guys, that means we only have $137 left in the nightly donation goal. So if anyone would like to help close out the nightly donation goal, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks for You. Best way to support the live. Everything is accepted. Anything's appreciated. If you're over on the tube and you want to send a super chat, I will read that message out. And guys, don't forget to take care of Brett Cross. He is here co-hosting with us all week, and we need to make sure that we take care of him. Brett, do you have any thank yous you want to call out?
Absolutely. W's in the chat to Jody, who sent in 10 and said, really enjoy being in the same space as you. I appreciate that so much.
I'm glad somebody
also,
does.
You invited me. Also W's in the chat to Anna for the 25. No message, but big W's. Thank you so much.
All right, now you
Absolutely.
can listen to Santana being a hater again.
Whatever. Joanna, I want to close this out on you as well. How do we push this conversation forward? Like we haven't gotten to the let's get it done portion yet, but again, I know you have a perspective that most people don't have as far as being like a public servant. Like how do we actually make this happen and, get bills and legislation and all this stuff passed? Like what do we do?
I think that it's going to take us finessing them into doing it, right? So, similarly to the way that we were going to end up with universal health care if Kamala Harris had got elected, she kind of was going to finesse it in. A lot of people didn't catch it, but with her, part of her platform being medical bills are going to be taken off of your credit report and you're no longer going to be able to be garnished for them. The healthcare providers would have figured out the best way for them to get paid is if the government was going to do it, right? So they would have ended up getting behind the lobbyists and putting the money in the pockets of politicians to force them to actually vote for universal health care. I think we're going to have to figure out a similar political strategy to make it financially feasible for them to push for it. I think that it's going to have to be more financially advantageous for them to get the politicians that they pay off to push for it. I don't know if it's going to need to be in the form of tax credits for companies. I'm not sure exactly how we need to go about that, but it's going to have to be something financial because they do not care. They just don't. Like when I was watching what happened with Sandy Hook and President Obama was crying and Republican politicians were sitting there stone faced. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Sorry, Santana. Sorry, Mama Jones.
I know you got to talk to my mama. That is not me.
I ain't even dropped an F-bomb tonight.
I know,
okay?
right?
It was just one. The live will be ending soon. It's fine, whatever. But like the only thing that they seem to understand is money. So we're gonna have to either hit them in the pockets
Or
with
line their
fines. Exactly, one of the two. Unfortunately, it's gonna have to be one of the two.
I agree. I absolutely agree. All right, I absolutely agree. Joanna, thank you so much for coming up and hanging out and delivering like you always do. You always come through and show up and show out. I expect nothing less.
I try. Can I say, as you shouldn't, one more thing before I go?
You can always
Thank you,
take the floor.
Santana, for hosting this space. It's appreciated. It's a much needed conversation. I still don't feel like enough people are having the conversation like what happened last week before last, whenever, Tiny Teeth McGee got out of here. None of them, they had a whole rally, and I'm not going to call it a funeral service or a memorial service because it was a rally.
It was.
None of those people got up there and spoke about those children that lost their lives on the same day around the same time as that man did. They do not care.
Nope.
So I thank you for hosting this space and for having this conversation. For the 718 people that are still here, we will be having this conversation for another couple days. So make sure that y'all come back and join us. And Mr. Cross, I'm going to try not to get emotional when I say this. Thank you for being here and co-hosting with us.
He had no other choice.
Santana, stop it. You're going to run away our co-host.
He strong-armed me.
Yeah.
He said you'll no longer be my token friend. If
I know where he lives. I can find him.
I mean, listen, by any means necessary, right? But Brett, the strength that you and Nikki have to continue to have these conversations and to open yourself up over and over and over and over to being open to having these conversations with people to see if you can try to change some minds and try to talk some sense into somebody at some point to get them to get some sense in the little pea brains that they have surrounding this topic. My admiration for that is absolutely infinite. And still to this day, the most poignant thing that I heard that hit me the hardest when I first started hearing you speak about this, that I will never forget and rings in my head. P.S. I've stolen it, but I do credit you for it when I say it to people. Imagine a cartoon character you would put on your kid's casket and then tell me that we don't need reform.
Yep. Yep.
So I appreciate you so much for being with us and for giving us your time, giving us your heart, because you put your heart and soul to this. And once again, Santana, I appreciate you for hosting the space.
Always.
Thank you so much, Joanna.
Thank you for being up here, Joanna. You're fucking awesome. And yes, I said fuck. All right, I'm going to
Watch
drop
your
you down. I appreciate you. W's in the chat to Aaliyah, who sent a $2 super chat to say 2:14 a.m., 9:23, New York City. The rapture has not happened yet. Aaliyah, you ever think that maybe the rapture has happened and we're just what's left? Think about it, guys. Maybe it's already happened. Exactly. Maybe it's already happened and it's just us now. Everyone, you're all heathens. Like it's just us. Let debauchery rule. Brett.
Yes,
serious thought. And I wanted to hold this until the very end when everyone else was gone. Because this is going to be like a really rough question, but I know that you can handle it. And I know we can kind of round off the conversation with this. I guess I'll give a trigger warning. Like I don't know if there's really a trigger warning type situation, but I guess I'll give a trigger warning just how I'm gonna say it. But Brett, do you think there's a need to actually see the gruesome events that are occurring? Like for people to actually see the violence that's occurring, the people actually losing their lives and not just putting this happened in Minnesota, but put a name and face and video footage to all of these things. Because, and I see Erica in the chat saying no, and I I don't want it, but darn it feels like people don't care until something happens to them, and I don't want people to have to happen for it to happen to them before they care. And I'm just like, if it's more visible, would they be more willing to actually do something? Like, what do you think?
So I'm of two minds. Not really of two minds, but here's my thought on this. Emmett Till's mama had an idea. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, she did. Open up the casket. Look at my baby. Yes, she did.
And I am all for that. But here's my thing, right? I think that we should, but I think it should be left up to the parents. Right? So like me, like personally right now, I'm comfortable with people seeing everything up to, but not including my son's body right now. Yeah. Right? So the classrooms, the blood everywhere, all of that, right? Mm-hmm. I'm all for that. Now, will I get to a place someday where I'm okay with that? Maybe, I've went back and forth on that. But that should be my decision, right? That should be the parents' decision. But I think that we should see what the effects of this truly are. And we've seen that, like I said, in history, and this is why I brought up, Emmett Till, is because we saw with Emmett Till, and his mom had just such just power and heartbreak and just a force that was like, kind of like I try to do, like, we're going to change the world in the name of our children, and she really did, so like I said, I think I think we should. I 100% think we should, but I also think, especially when it comes to the kids, right, that it should be up to the parents to whether or not you see the bodies, because like at this point, and trigger warning specifically to people, like, I don't know how I feel right now, knowing where my son was shot, knowing what happened to his body. I don't know if I'm comfortable with the world seeing that, right? Like, so for those that do not know, my son Uzziah was killed in the sorry about that, Santana.
No, you got it. You got it. Go.
In the Robb Elementary school shooting in Uvalde. He was shot once in his spine. It severed his spinal cord, and it blew out his stomach. So at the time of our funeral, he from chest down to waist, it wasn't him. It was stuffing. It was padding. It was not him. And so I saw that. I don't know how I feel about everybody else seeing that. So when I say I think that we should see up to, I 100% agree. I think that, this event that happened last week with, I don't even have nothing nice to call him, with that dude, I think it gave people a slight glimpse into what it actually looks like. Because I'll tell you this, I didn't want to see it, but I saw it over and over again, just turning on social media and everything. And that is, if you haven't seen it, like, consider yourself lucky. But also, like, this is, one, something that you're going to need therapy for, and two, something that that happened to a grown man. You saw the effects on a grown man. Now look at it like the size of a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Dude, I'll keep rambling. So,
no, listen.
Like I said, I agree with it. But I would hope that the parents would be able, because some parents couldn't, right? Like, there's some parents I know that would absolutely unalive themselves if their children's bodies were shown, and we don't need more destruction. So if we can use it in a way that is helpful so that we can desensitize people, absolutely.
Yeah. Brett, I think that was the toughest question I've ever asked. And it's hard to swallow, like, physically just now, and just not only hearing you speak, but thinking about it. And I just want to, and I know you know this, but say this to everybody, like, that question didn't come out lightly, right? That wasn't a question I'm just like, hey, let's do it for fun. It's like, I feel like we're desperate. Like, what do we do? I feel desperate at this moment, Brett. Like, what can we do?
Yeah. Keep fighting.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I don't, like, I ask myself this all the time too, and to just pull back just a little bit. I know that wasn't an easy question. As soon as it kind of got brought up earlier, I knew that's where you were going. But that's the thing, is that's a question that I've thought about repeatedly over these last 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've literally put a lot of time and effort into that. But the thing is like, what we can do is we can keep fighting. Because that's all we can do, right? Like, we can't give up. Like, I have other children. I can't give up. I cannot lose another child. Like, I can't, or I won't, make it here. I don't want any child to experience what Uzziah experienced. I don't want any parent to have to make the same decisions that I've made, right? Like Joanna mentioned earlier, I say this all the time. You know everything about your children. You know their favorite whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I had to pick out Uzi's favorite comic book character to put on his casket.
Yeah.
My wife and I decided on his funeral outfit, right? Like we had to think about that. We had to answer that question. We had to make that decision, right? And little story with that, the clothes that he got, he had his funeral in, were clothes that he wanted to wear to his next school dance. Like literally, he was getting so excited he wanted to do another school dance, because man, that boy, he was a ladies' man. He was, but he was so ready to do his next school dance, right? So what he wanted was a long sleeve red button up with a black bow tie, black jeans, and some Jordans.
Yeah.
He never made it to that dance.
Yeah.
But so we let him have that. Those are decisions that we have had to make. We've had to pick what design goes on his urn, what design goes on his headstone, because we have a headstone for him in Uvalde so that his friends could go and visit. We've had to decide all of that, and those are not decisions that you can take lightly. Like they're, I know parents that have barely been able to make those decisions, but those decisions are forced upon us because we value in this country guns and money more than we do our children.
Yep.
And so all we have to do is keep fighting.
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah. Yeah, Bert, we honestly, we don't have any other choice. We don't. And you know what? With that being said, we're going to keep fighting again tomorrow. The tougher part about having this as the topic for this week is like a week doesn't do it justice. Hell, like a month doesn't do it justice. Like the fight that you engage in every single day is one that should always be amplified, and it should be at the forefront of everybody's mind, not just when there's another shooting that happens when someone else loses their life. Like your platform should be amplified every single day, and until we get some type of resolution. Hell, we need to retire Brett from being a reform activist. Like we need to we need to make it so you have to find something else to do.
That's the goal. That's the goal, right? Like I tell people all the time, it sounds ridiculous when I say this, but I don't want to have this job. I want to work myself out of a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's ridiculous. It's crazy.
Yeah. But Brett, we're gonna do this again tomorrow. And we're gonna get into it. And I know there's a bunch of people in the box that did not get an opportunity to get up here. But we will be back tomorrow, and I promise you we're going to try to get new people in. We're going to try to rotate this. I know this is such an important topic, such a raw topic, and so many people have so many opinions about it. And I promise you that we have the best person that could possibly help me facilitate this conversation in Brett Cross, and we're going to do it together. So, guys, make sure you hit the follow button. If you're not following me, look up at the top. You see follow, hit that follow button so you can catch me again tomorrow. Turn on your notifications. We'll be back tomorrow. Make sure you follow Brett. Brett will be back tomorrow. We're going to get back into this, and we're going to keep it going for the rest of this week. Brett, you know how much I love you. Like, and not even on like TikTok stuff. You are truly someone that I appreciate being able to call a brother, and I just appreciate having you here so much.
Likewise, brother. 100%. Like I said, I was so happy when you texted me and you asked me, you know what I'm saying? Because, real quick, just to your point, this isn't talked about enough.
Yeah.
We saw a couple creators come out and talk about it that day, maybe the next day. And then it was, if they were still talking about it, it was all about the person and not about the firearm violence. There's very few creators that actively talk about
of firearm reform, and I'm proud to say that you are one of them.
Yeah.
Because it's not a very big list.
Yeah, no, listen, and I've tried to make this really clear, and I said this when I text you. This isn't about Charlie Kirk. Like, I don't want to talk about Charlie. You know how many times my wife has fussed at me about, like, you know, I don't want to hear about people talking about him anymore, and I'm like, yeah, me too. Like, we're losing the point, and I said this to Johnny the other day, like, yeah, I'm willing to politicize it if that means we get some type of real change, because it's about everyone else, and like, that's what's important. It's about the kids. It's about being able to freaking just go out in public and live your life without the fear of losing your life. And so that's what it is.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Anyway, Brett, I appreciate you so much.
I love you, brother.
I love you more. Have a good one.
You too, man.
Chat. Sorry, that was a super heavy end to the stream, but like this is a topic that we're really gonna have to dig into. Not even gonna hold you, chat. This week, I'm gonna need everybody to put on the big boy, big girl, big day, your pants, pull them up tight, strap your belts on, because this is a serious conversation. This is gonna be a hard conversation all week, and I need you. There's no way in the blue HE double hockey sticks that I'm going to be able to have this conversation by myself. So we need all of you. We can do this together. We can absolutely do this together. And we need to do this together. I'm going to lean on you big time because this conversation effing sucks. Not going to hold you. Really quick, W's in the chat for Aaliyah, who sent a $20 super chat to say, I'd honestly believe so, Santana, if not for the fact that God has not yet been truly seen. Please don't take this as a push of the religious people. Yes, these people would believe in the rapture happening, and they're blessed to be here. Like, that whole rapture thing was crazy. People really would, like, it was wild. W's in the chat for Lee, who also sent a $2 donation, said, we won't give up, sir. All of my love is with you. We won't. We'll fight together. We'll fight together. We'll do this together. Guys, we're going to call it. We're going to hit this outro. We're going to get out of here. And we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, this ain't your regular panel. Nah, we speak the truth. Late nights with Santana and Mama Jones watching. Better keep it clean. Let's go. Late nights, truth in the convo. Everybody get a seat at the table. From the block to the books, we mindful. No screaming, just dreams in the Bible. One mic, one voice, we build bridges from the heart of the hood to the world's big issues. Politics, pay, different cultures.
Ooh, guys, chat, I love you. I love you. I do. Holy smokes. It was a night. It was a night. It was a lot of emotions we talked about. We didn't even get halfway through the topic, so tomorrow is going to be lit. We're going to be on it. I appreciate everyone being here tonight. I truly, truly mean that. You guys are freaking awesome. Thank you for everything. Thank you for all the taps, the gifts, the likes, the shares. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining the conversation. If you were in the box and you did not get to join the conversation tonight, come back tomorrow. I promise you. I'm going to get you in. There's a ton of people that did not get the opportunity to join the conversation, and that's on me and then also the amount of people that are trying to get in here, but I promise you we're going to get you in here. Chat, I love you all. I love you all. Thank you all for being here, and as always, peace. Hey, YouTube, Twitch, let's hear the rest of the song, shall we?
Watching, so keep it grown. Ain't about flexing, this is purpose zone. Santana hold it steady when it might get hot, but we ain't here.
We're gonna rock out to the song.
Mama Jones watching, so keep it grown.
We still hear YouTube and Twitch.
Santana hold it steady when
I fucking love you guys.
But we ain't here to fight, we here to connect the dots. Weekly topics,
hearts wide open.
No judgment, just motion. Real ones.
I hope you guys are getting ready to go to bed too. Love you the most.